Good evening, everyone. This is Sean.
Alex.
And this is Sven.
And we are giving you a multicultural, international podcast. We are starting season 2 of Coast to Kings Radio. This will be our first episode. We listened to some of your feedback on our Instagram, Facebook, on social media, your comments. So we added some new things this season to our podcast episodes. But first of all, I want to kindly remind everyone to wear their mask
Over your nose and mouth.
over your nose and mouth.
Especially.
Just so you know.
Please do both.
Because we will stare at you from no matter where we are.
We can see your nose.
We can see it.
We'll cut it off.
Oof, okay. Strong words from Alex. So yeah, I hope... Sorry, go for it, Sven.
Unless you're in the Netherlands, because there no one is wearing a mask.
Right.
I know, isn't that strange? I'm from the Netherlands,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's
I have my
It's
questions.
almost like all of these countries in Europe handled this so much better than America.
True, at least they already, like, at least they already handled it to begin with.
If you're in America,
we're
and
still
I
on the
see your
upswing.
nose,
For real.
but for the
I
rest
just
of the
heard
world, we're
today
fine.
that I'm in one of the most severe... Well, in one of the regions where the rules are most severe. Apparently, Belgium is in the top 4.
Wow. Yeah, the US is not like that. Here it's a free-for-all. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least Orange County, where we live in Florida, Orlando area, it's mandatory to wear a mask in public. And, Universal, Disney, they've been really good about constantly reminding you to wear it over your mouth and nose.
Yep.
So that's been pretty good. But everyone that's been wearing a mask, hopefully you have stayed safe. Hopefully your quarantine wasn't as bad. Hopefully you did quarantine, like it's the right thing to do. But even if you didn't, I hope you're safe. We did all right. I think it's the longest time we ever spent together at home, so that was kind of interesting. It was good. Like it was by all means, it was good.
It was
The
fine.
ultimate
We
challenge.
didn't kill each other or anything. We got married.
We got married, by the way. Yeah,
We got married.
Congratulations.
We were so bored during our quarantine. We got married.
Yeah, between season 1 and 2, we did quite a bit. We also drove down from Seattle in a truck, which kind of sucked. But then we got married the moment we got back to Orlando, so that
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah.
And we also actually rode some roller coasters. So did Sven. European parks seem to be open a lot more than the U.S. parks, but
With some exceptions, but most of them are. Yet I would have been in Orlando with you guys in June. But
I know it's so true. It was
Sadness.
sad because I'm his travel agent, so I had to go and call Disney and cancel. It was quite sad. I've been
Thank
doing
you,
a lot
travel
lately.
agent.
I've been canceling a lot of vacations lately.
Yeah.
It's been my job.
Your job lately. Yeah.
Yeah, my job lately is just
2020
like,
job description
hey,
has
it's
been
me again.
canceling.
Another cancellation.
Canceling trips.
Nervous laugh. Like Halloween Horror Night vacation packages.
Yeah.
Bye.
They announced virtual Halloween Horror Nights today.
Oh yeah, like they just announced
couple
virtual
hours ago.
Halloween Horror
Really?
Night. I think I'll stay home.
They've got archived footage of houses and stuff from previous years, and we'll be broadcasting or hosting it on
Online.
YouTube.
I mean, to be fair, it's better than nothing. Like
Better
I'm
than
sure
nothing.
the
Yeah,
hardcore
it's
fans
something.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
But snow, so
Yeah.
we went to a bunch of parks this year, which is kind of cool. Even though all of our plans for everyone, including ourselves, we were supposed to go to Wuhan. Believe it or not, that didn't happen. Go figure. First I was really optimistic. It was February, and I was talking to my friend from Wuhan that I worked with, and I was like, "Oh, we're still going." Like by the time May rolls around, everything is totally fine. And she's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's really bad," and I was like,
We were
"No,
like,
it's
we
not."
can just skip Wuhan.
I was like,
do Shanghai.
we'll just skip Wuhan and we'll just do, Guangdong region and
Guangzhou.
Shanghai region, and it'll be cool. That'll probably be happening in 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
That's how cool this year turned out.
Yeah.
We got a season pass to Disneyland Paris earlier this year, which we're so excited about. And now we can legally travel to Europe, so there's that.
Well, at least it's still good through July.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, July next year. Oh, yeah, I guess it's already August. Today we'll talk about some of the parks we went to, which is actually quite a bit. We're pretty proud of ourselves. Given
It was some domestic appreciation.
yeah, we finally hit up some parks we never spent time going to because they're the only ones that were open. So look at that.
Yep.
Good thing came out 2020. And then we've got some cool tips, some industry news that we'll talk about towards the end of the podcast. So I guess we'll dive right in because you've missed us so much, everyone. So we'll actually start with Universal Orlando Resort. First, parks opening in our region. We went there first week of June when they reopened. We had a good time. I would say that it was busiest in the very beginning. Like when they had pass holder previews, it was actually pretty crowded. And then we were there for 4 days with the agency I work with. We hung out at Cabana Bay. It was fun. And ever since then, crowds have definitely lessened. We would go on weekdays, and we would just walk on to everything. It's been really great. Universal, I think, handled it really, really well. They kind of set an example for the industry.
We're relieved to report, honestly, I think this is Universal's finest hour. Even though their profits and stuff are in the can, just like everyone else, reputation-wise, I think Universal will be remembered for how well they handled all of this, especially now that they've been open for 2 months now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
open for 3 months.
Yeah, it's always kind of that Disney versus Universal thing, and Universal decided to open as soon as they could.
Sooner, 6 weeks sooner.
And I think it was good for them because they had everything organized. There was markers. Staff seemed to be well trained. I mean, of course, a rough start, but everything had a rough start. And overall, I think I'm really satisfied. Everything was operating, high capacity, no waits, really fun mask designs. Our masks are much more comfortable than Disney's. Great. So Universal really did a great job. And by opening 6 weeks earlier than Disney, I think they kind of had time to show the world, like, hey, we know what we're doing. Yeah. We are also,
because I'm sure people definitely thought that they probably wouldn't be able to accomplish and do what they were able to do in the time that they had. People accused them of rushing and not taking this seriously, but I think they were quick to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and I think it was only 2 weeks later. It was only a few days later. I forgot the exact dates, but SeaWorld and Busch Gardens reopened. And I'll be honest, I was disappointed with how Busch Gardens handled.
We only lasted
an hour. We were so mad. It was
just a hot mess.
It was bad. So we haven't been doing much SeaWorld and Busch Gardens lately. In fact, we tried going to Aquatica once, and it was so bad. It was so crowded. Half the attractions weren't open. Lines were
It was crazy.
Everywhere.
It was like a Tuesday, right?
It was a Tuesday.
It was a weekday.
So SeaWorld was closed, but Aquatica was open because they alternate their days. It was rough. Like we were just actually thinking, okay,
we just wanted to go for the lazy river.
Yeah, we'll swing by lazy river, look at the dolphins, and leave.
The lazy river was closed, and the park was packed.
It was super packed, and the parking lot was full. And then there's the fast lazy river with the rapids, and it was just so incredibly full of people. It was shoulder to shoulder.
It
was
not
COVID friendly.
So this is not responsible.
Yeah, we just left. We came in, we left. So as of right now, we're still excited to go to SeaWorld soon. I heard to clean things up a little bit. But with Universal having such a tight operation, we've just been flocking there. There's been weeks we've been going every other day, while on furlough. So congrats to Universal on that one.
Besides the COVID measures, did you notice something special at Universal?
So they're doing this thing.
They are not building?
So there's this thing where the sky is black in some parts of the park, and it actually turns out to be steel.
Yeah,
and it's a roller coaster. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In all fairness,
I've heard
it
Universal
looks phenomenal.
Staff members refer to it as a shrub.
As a shrub.
They're just like, well, we planted a new shrub. I'm like, oh, is that what we're calling it?
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, we're pruning it, and we want to make sure it looks nice.
I can't believe that park is building that, honestly. Because, so Islands of Adventure already has the most complete roster of any park in Florida, in my opinion. They have all the cool dark rides, they have all the cool roller coasters, and then they just have so much, all the cool restaurants. I just love Islands of Adventure. I'll spend all day there, every day.
The two best dark rides in Central Florida, Spider-Man and Harry Potter.
Totally, Forbidden Journey is exceptional. So is
the best roller coaster. Well, but just IOA
alone
has that triple threat of the two Harry Potter e-tickets and for us Spider-Man, which I still think.
And then it's the water ride capital of Florida with Jurassic Park, always phenomenal, and then both Popeyes
Dudley and Popeye
Dudley are.
So the park already has the strongest roster around, the most well-rounded, and so now it's just another victory lap for them with
Jurassic Park,
Velocicoaster.
It looks really good because based on our experiences with Blitz coasters, obviously Maverick's great, Talon is phenomenal, and then we rode a couple in Asia last year that were absolutely out of this world. So I'm really stoked. I think that this is the right product to go with.
It will contend for the best coaster in
all of Florida.
The region, possibly,
no doubt. Southwest
or maybe out of Honestly, maybe out of Florida because it's looking
Yeah.
really good. And what I also noticed is
it.
that they are more and more using the new track type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed it. The Wallaby Belgium coaster, which we have a new update, by the way, everyone. Check it out. That one uses the same style of... It almost kind of reminds me of a mix between SNS new track style and Vekoma. It's kind of cool. I like it. It looks cool.
They already used it for Hyperion and for even for Red Force. I think it has similar style.
Okay. I dig it. But you know what? I do want to give a quick shout out to Disney for building Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy, because we would have never seen Jurassic World Velocicoaster if it weren't for the serious competition down the street, and then SeaWorld is going full on with adding new roller coasters. So we wouldn't be having the best coaster in the region, which I think it'll be if it weren't for like everyone in the mother building roller coasters.
It's going to come down to is it better than Fury? Is it better than Lightning Rod?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a national player, which usually the Orlando parks aren't a national player when it comes to roller coasters. It wasn't, I think, till Mako. I mean, Dueling Dragons was great, I'm sure, but I don't think it was till Mako when like modern social media that the coaster wars kind of moved into Florida, and now everyone's building the biggest coaster. So that's cool. I'm excited. And real quick before we move on, for anyone wondering, Universal has openly admitted that Fast and Furious Supercharged is absolute crap.
Terrible.
So, of their 5 rides, they have closed due to a lack of popularity during COVID-19 times.
A Day in the Park with Barney. The Twirl and Hurl ride in front of Simpsons. Storm Force Acceleratron.
Next to Hulk.
Fear Factor Live, which was
I thought was that already
closed,
okay.
I thought.
And Fast and Furious Supercharged.
Okay, just for me... I have done the tour in Hollywood where you have the Fast and the Furious scene. Yeah. So that's exactly the same, but then just that part of the ride.
It's actually worse.
It's actually worse. So what they did is they took that video, so the whole experience they created for Hollywood, and they built it. And then they have 3 terrible pre-shows. They're really bad. The actors are not into it. Like, they weren't into it to begin with. And then Universal said, make us more videos. And they were like, really not into it.
I don't think Vin Diesel could possibly
be more bored. Or whatever that girl is in the car. Anyway, it's just real bad.
Yeah.
And then you actually board this bus, okay? The party bus. Kid you not. You board the party bus. And it's like it's not a fun party by any means. Yeah. And then like you go down this cool effect. That's the only cool part where like it looks like you're going really fast. And then you turn into these show scenes from Hollywood. But they altered them to have like different characters. Maybe I don't know why, but they altered them. It's the exact same video, but like they altered in they video edited in different people in addition to it.
And they altered it to make it look like San Francisco.
And then you have the next scene where it's altered to be San Francisco. Yeah. So you have the exact same race through the streets of LA, but then you jump over the river and it's downtown San Francisco. There's no river in downtown San Francisco. Yeah,
it's so
terrible. There's a lot of water there.
Because
it makes no sense.
Clearly is meant to be LA.
Yeah, it's 100% LA,
concrete,
except for that's
smog.
like I mean, kid you not, the theme of the one in Hollywood is that you start in the Jurassic Park garage, which Hollywood only has Jurassic Park garage, not Orlando. They have one floor, that's it. It's really obviously the Hollywood garage, and then you take off. Yeah. They kept that for the one here. So like you're literally in the Hollywood garage and you take off.
The Transamerica building and like all of the other like backgrounds.
Yeah, and then you finish and you crash into like all the containers, like Hollywood, of course. Yeah. And then there's a little video popping up that is literally the same video as Hollywood's, where they're at the sound stages in the hills, be like, "Your family now. You can ride with us anytime." Like, wow. And it's like, wow, guys.
Right, yeah.
Like, this is so cheap. Okay. And if you go to Google, it has a 1.6 stars. Yeah. I contributed to that. Yeah. I'm pretty proud. But everyone contributed to that. Like, it is so bad that people left bad reviews on Google.
Someone on the pass holder page said that, like, they walked up to the ride closed, and it's like, I guess we weren't family after all.
But you can ride with evac anytime.
We were family. But the family up and left us.
I would have left too. Shit, that's not my ride. So yeah.
Anyway,
we're actually really excited. Universal was like,
COVID killed a lot of things, but it also killed Fast and Furious. So,
and sadly, we like Aventura a lot. That's a favorite hotel, I think, on resort. But they're closing that along with Sapphire Falls temporarily because of the low demand. And then Portofino Bay has never reopened. I don't think it's reopening until 2021. Yeah. So. That's all for Universal, quite a bit. awesome. I really enjoyed our time. Like, we were definitely on this time where we only got about Disney World, and Universal was always busy, and we weren't into it, and it was hot, but we've been super Universal people. We bought all this merchandise, and we've been like wearing these cool outfits, like street fashion in China, but like Universal. So like, we've been into it.
Yeah, wearing our silk button-ups to Universal Studios because we feel
they've just been doing such a good job. You know, everything's open as we're like.
They take really good care of their pass holders. The pass holder lounges in all of the restaurants that they usually.
Oh yeah, they have like special menus just for pass holders.
They have a lot of special event space, like in the nice restaurants, but they're not hosting events right now, so they gave them to the pass holders. So that's been really fun.
Speaking of that, didn't they also introduce a new annual pass for Florida residents?
Yeah,
where
so currently
you can go.
If you buy one-day ticket as a Florida resident, then you get to visit as many days as you like up to December 24th, if I'm not mistaken. I should know this for sure, but I don't have it in front of me.
Kind of smart, but and then they had to adjust their hours because the crowds last Saturday were so outrageous.
Yeah, so Universal, along with Disney, cut their hours. Universal did it earlier. So when the parks reopened, it was open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. both parks every day, with early admission for certain pass holders and resort guests at 8 a.m. for the Studios park. Then they cut it to 9 to 5 for Studios, 10 to 6 for Islands of Adventure. But then they've been giving the gate away. So they've been like making tickets really cheap for locals, and there's all these Florida deals, and everyone's just been flocking over to the point where on Saturdays there's like 3-hour lines for rides,
especially since,
and they're only open till like 5 p.m. So they had to change that. They've changed it back to on weekends now. It's 6 p.m., which is still not much, but an hour helps. You can get into a queue before 6. And
because they don't make you reserve your space in the park.
Yeah, unlike Disney
makes it
you can
hard.
just roll up. So like pass holders don't have any struggle.
Yeah,
Disney is hard for pass holders. Like we can, God, it was messy. We'll get to that in a little bit. But like for Disney, it's been a lot messier. Nice one.
Sorry.
It's been a little messier. So
the world does not stop for the podcast.
It does not. I'm surprised the cats haven't caused havoc yet.
It's all right.
Same here.
So we should probably move on to our next park.
Yeah.
So we also actually went to Frontier City.
Yeah, we did a little Heart of America trip because Frontier City in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
I was scared. I was like, the last place I want to be right now is like Texas and Oklahoma. It's like COVID. Everyone believes that like masks don't exist and shit. Like, I was scared.
Yeah.
We had the greatest time.
We had a great time. Yeah, Frontier City was the first Six Flags park to reopen.
It's also the first Six Flags park to make a good impression on me in a while.
Yeah,
so
it was also
fun.
the first nice Six Flags park I've ever been to.
Girls, Six Flags has ended lately.
I'm sorry.
Frontier City. But that was really good, though, Frontier City.
Yeah, you can tell they have really, really good local management, and they don't actually put Six Flags on a lot of their stuff.
Which I really appreciated. Everything was non-Six Flags branded, but you can see the Six Flags touches, like the big corporate overlord, but it just felt great.
It had a lot of charm.
Even though Diamondback was closed, their Aero shuttle loop, I've still never ridden one.
Yeah. It's a place we would comfortably revisit.
But I would go there again. It's out of the way, but it was worth it, though.
I mean, it's not terrible. At least it's in a big metro.
Yeah. The park is cute.
To fly into Oklahoma City.
It has a couple of cool classics. Not very large. It was actually really cozy and quaint, which helps with, being able to keep it up. A lot of these big Six Flags parks are too good for their own. They're too large for their own good,
I loved it.
They kind of like, the larger Six Flags parks, is the maintenance just lost touch years ago, and now there's too much to catch up with.
This place was it felt like a Great Value Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah. No, it gave me kind of European vibes in the way that it was very green. The rides there were, production models. It was a Looping Star model.
The Looping Star was
Vekoma Family Invert.
Yeah.
A really cute wooden coaster, but not too large.
National Amusement Devices wooden coaster. They've got some great old, regional park relics there.
And of all the parks I dealt with early on in this reopening scenario, they by far had the best social distancing in place. Instead of like making little markers where to stand, they made giant markers where not to stand. So if you were standing in like the yellow striped area, everyone knew you were not supposed to stand there. It worked out really well. I felt pretty safe there. They were always cleaning and spraying. I don't know.
Even though
Frontier
the
City
park's
gets big points. I like it.
Even though the park's really quaint, like you could tell that there was a corporate entity with a lot at stake who made the decisions about how to handle social distancing.
Yeah.
Because they took that very seriously, whereas a park like Magic Springs in Arkansas, which we went to after, totally independent function, and bless their hearts, like not.
I know no one leaves Magic Springs area
level.
anyway, but it was.
And as Frontier City was as far as enforcing.
So Magic Springs is cool when it comes to the rides. I thought they had one of the best SLCs. I know, give me hate for it.
We love our SLCs.
Sven is dying right now. Like he's passed out on the floor.
X-Car coaster is neat.
X-Coaster was cool.
Best coaster of the park was Big Bad John for me.
I disagree. I like Gauntlet the best.
Sean didn't like Big Bad
I'm a little
John
SLC whore, you know.
The trains are not very comfortable for people who are 6'6".
Because like you can be tall in SLC and still like kind of enjoy it.
Big Bad John is so cool though.
I think it's better if you're tall in SLC. You don't hit your head.
Yeah, also true.
So like I guess like I like my I like
no,
those.
But Gauntlet was good. I rode it twice.
Yeah, we bought a Gauntlet face mask.
Yeah, they had some fun Gauntlet merch. So we have Gauntlet. That's still like the park's signature ride, even though they have X-Car, which is like the only one of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. Even though they're hugely successful like throughout Asia, and it's like it's like a Bismo.
It wasn't as good as I was expecting.
Just the drop and the.
So we tried riding a Skyloop in China, and we were too tall, and we were like, whatever.
And that was an official. That was an actual.
That was an actual one. It wasn't a rip-off one. Because we also tried riding a rip-off one, but we were way too tall for that one.
Yeah,
like it was never going to be.
So this was Sean's third attempt at getting on one.
And honestly, I didn't think it was that good. I've been on a bunch of Skyrocket 2s, and I can totally see how Skyrocket 2s took this concept of like hang time and like high twist, and added so much more flair to it.
Like the 2-dimensional footprint.
Because like the lift was cool and like doing the little tilt, but the hang time was pretty minimal. And like by the time it actually went rolling, I don't know, it didn't feel as special. You know, it's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, it's
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, so I've only done a Bismo, so
yeah.
Oh yeah, so you've had some extra flair to it.
Yeah, I heard Bismo is a much better because it has a whole coaster attached to it.
Exactly, and I think it's a very underrated coaster. I remember one of the first times, as it's very hot in Spain often. I remember going up, twisting upside down, and seeing Madrid, and then blacking out.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
There you go.
Yeah, because of the sun. I bet Abismo so much better.
Yeah, and it like I've ridden 2 other Skyloops that were just
all kind of the same
basic. Yeah, Ukko at Linnanmäki in Finland, and Skyloop or Skywheel. It's called Skywheel, even though it's not a wheel at Skyline Park, and it's the same thing.
I know, of all parks in the world that could have gotten away with just calling it Skyloop, like the production model, it's Skyline Park.
I think they already had
already
had a ride called Skyloop because
everything is Sky in Skyline
is Sky
Park.
Something. Yeah, it's
like, so
there's
cheesy.
Like Sky Whirl, Sky Glider.
Wow. Sounds like my like Parks and Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 when I'm bored of like making up names. I'm like, Sky this, Sky that. It's all white.
Yeah,
that's funny.
No, but okay, so Arkansas. The Big Bad John is really cool.
You know what I liked?
Reasons.
Arkansas Twister. Oh yeah, you can go talk about your Big Bad John thing.
Well, okay. We should talk about both. We can talk about Arkansas Twister first.
Okay, Arkansas Twister was cool because no one ever talks about it and has pretty negative connotation to that coaster name.
Yeah.
But I liked it. It was a little rough,
but
it had character and a really cool views because I didn't realize how hilly Arkansas can get. I mean, I guess I knew there was mountains there, but it was really cool to view because it kind of goes out of the park. It's an out and back, but it's on top of it's like the highest part of the park
from the rest of the
park.
Like
you get a really cool view of like the layered hills and the springs of Arkansas.
Appalachia.
And I wouldn't really go to Arkansas for any other reason than a roller coaster, so it was kind of cool. I got to see that.
And it's one of the last coasters running like the original Gerstlauer like plastic trains.
Which I don't mind because legroom is actually
run pretty well.
I like them on Cheetah too. Everyone hates them because they are rattly and are kind of not the greatest. But for someone who really appreciates legroom, that's a good one.
Yeah, like they do well on the Boss and they do well on Arkansas Twister. And the coaster's a Florida transplant. It cheated death twice because
true. It was in Circus World.
Yeah, Circus
in South Florida
closed and. The people who own Magic Springs bought it and rebuilt it and opened it, and then Magic Springs closed in the mid-'90s for several years, and it miraculously reopened.
Yeah, so I actually didn't know upon visiting. I guess I didn't realize how long the closure was, but the park had been closed for years and they reopened it. It was actually in pretty good shape. Yeah. It's a little tacky here and there because like so it's called Magic Springs, obviously, because it's in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and water and shit. But they literally painted all the water like they tinted it all blue.
Yeah.
So it was like super fake, It's like a fountain, but like the water is like
blue raspberry icy.
Yeah, remember that
juice.
Pepsi that came out, the blue Pepsi? It didn't last. But remember that one? It was literally like that all over the park. So I was like, okay, it's kind of weird, like weird flex, but okay.
The water park is called Crystal Falls, but we called it Crystal Meth.
Okay, because
Magic Springs and crystal meth.
We saw some characters, y'all.
We saw some really wild.
If we're gonna talk about like the Arkansas stereotypes you hear about, we saw some, dude.
Yeah.
Like it was like an attraction in its own.
What are those?
I don't know if we can say this on a podcast. I'll message it to you, Sven.
Yeah,
just for like.
Okay.
I don't want to be rude.
If you live in Arkansas,
we're not trying to offend you. I'm sure you know.
We're probably not talking about you if you're listening to this.
If you listen to this, you probably are like way above that. But
yeah,
it was just cool. Like
actually, chances are, if you're listening
like
to this and you're from Arkansas or have been to Magic Springs, you probably know exactly what we're talking about.
Also, does everyone get the joke about Arkansas, like the Arkansas thing?
Arkansas.
Did you guys see the video? So it's like, why is one thing called Kansas and the other one is Arkansas?
Confusion.
Why isn't it Arkansas? That's just funny. It's like an Indian lady or whatever. It's really cool. Okay, off topic. I'm sorry.
Big Bad John is
Big
awesome.
Bad John is awesome.
Because it used to be at Six Flags St. Louis, and then Dollywood bought it and moved it to Dollywood, and they reprofiled it and added on to the back end.
And then they moved it over to...
And then Magic Springs bought it.
And...
You would never know that it was a second-hand ride. It's so nicely
It feels nicely integrated. A lot of trees.
It has the first-generation rolling stock, which are less comfortable than, like, the updated ones with like individual ratcheting lap
bars.
Yeah,
funny story about that. So we were in Circles Over Georgia last year, and we don't even like their mine train. Like it's really bad.
Yeah.
And but we were just like, well, let's ride it because it was long lines, everything else.
Yeah.
And so we literally waited for the ride for like 20 minutes, and we get on, and like the lap bar won't close.
We couldn't get the lap bar down
because we're just big, and like the trains are awful. And then there's a whole station full of people, and the ride op is like,
get up and readjust and try again, and we just
got up. We just got up, and we started laughing, and we
so
laughed,
hard,
and everyone's looking at us like we're like these weirdos.
We just bailed. We were like,
we didn't even fucking like this ride. We're gonna leave. So we left.
And the only reason we don't like that ride is because Odie Hopkins reprofiled it and ruined it. It's not a real Aero Mine train
Hopkins water rides are pretty good, but their roller coasters are questionable. That is a fact.
Anyways, so Magic Springs was fun.
For this season.
It was nice to go there and do that park. The third park
was Silverado City. You can never go wrong with Silverado City. Like, cannot say enough positive things about Hershey Parks, Family Entertainment, whatever it's called. We had a fun time.
The highlight of that visit
we went the first day it reopened, actually, and they did a good job. The highlight was time travel.
Yeah, getting the right time traveler with nobody sitting on the other side because of social distancing, and we spun like crazy.
Yeah, so time travel doesn't really spin a lot because, usually there's 4 people to a car and like back-to-back. You don't really spin much. But this time around, we spun like crazy because like we were heavy people and there was no one behind us, of course, because of social distancing. So we had quite the rides on it, and there was no one there. So like they're running. Plopsaland people are going to have the greatest time next year,
and that's a good trick. Is like when you ride that ride, if you can go when it's really quiet and the park's quiet and they don't load every row. Like if you can get to the point where you're the only person in your vehicle on those max spinners, you will spin really crazily. They were so much better. I mean, I liked the ride in 2019. I didn't feel like I liked it as much as everyone else did, but then we rode it with these rides where we didn't have anyone on the other side of us, and it was awesome. I was blown away.
So the only thing about Silverado City was operations were kind of iffy. So Wildfire blew its motor at the previews the day before. So like even though I absolutely love Wildfire, it was down.
The B&M of all coasters.
Yeah, of all coasters. That's like the most consistently running ride there. Yeah. And then some rides' capacity was so limited. They were running one train on Powder Keg. They were cleaning it every 20 minutes, and they were only filling like 8 of the seats max. And that ride takes quite a while because it like launches and it has switch tracks and the lift hill and it goes way to F out in the Ozark.
Running it
so
with
that
one train,
line was an hour.
Totally
we got off. It was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
The park is empty. We walk onto Time Travel repeatedly, but there's a 2 hour wait
and
for like your family coaster. That was pretty rough.
Time Traveler and
All Around was 2 trains, or was it 1 train? I can't recall.
Was
but we didn't wait for it. We walked on.
Yeah, I can't remember if I think Outlaw Run was 2 trains. Everything I think was 2 trains except for Powder Keg.
So we had like the greatest time, but it was just really like I would have loved to have ridden it another time because I liked it better this time than last time, but it was just not worth the wait. And people weren't distancing. I wasn't surprised because the region that we were in, but
it's much easier to keep socially distant in the coaster lines where nobody else is riding, like Outlaw Run, Tennessee or TNT and Time Traveler, but when Powder Keg, where like everyone is crowding,
and it's a popular ride. I'm really surprised they're running
it faster if they're like breathing down your neck in line behind you. It's
because when they run 2 trains, they're literally waiting to send out the train. Like they're literally waiting till the other train comes back because like the ride's so long.
Yeah.
So like having trains be gone for like 3-4 minutes, it's really frustrating. But we had a great time. Like, Silver City, you really can't go wrong.
Mystic River Falls opened. We didn't ride it yet.
We didn't ride it yet.
Wasn't ready
it just
yet,
opened. But it looks great.
Like a month later, and it looks awesome.
And I think we came to a conclusion that we like Silver City better, just because
Dollywood.
the terrain and all the rides are like go out into the hills and the theme is consistent. So we kind of settled the debate on it finally.
Dollywood may have more coasters, but I think the overall quality of coasters at Silver Tower City is slightly
and like terraforming
higher.
and location and stuff.
And
yeah,
the park is more cohesive and more true to its original concept.
But for the record, we all love Dolly though.
But
like Dolly, we love you.
You also can't go wrong with Dollywood. Dollywood's just a bit more glitzy and polished, and if you want something more rustic, which sometimes you do, Silver Tower City takes the cake on that. And like John said, all the coasters there, you ride them, you get in line for them, and you ride them sight unseen.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
You're getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm. All the rides are like these amazing, glorious terrain rides, whereas only a portion of Dollywood's coasters are like hidden in the forest. You've got lots of stuff like Dragonflyer and Wild Eagle, Mystery Mine, Fire Chaser Express that are all kind of on display
out there.
But
yep.
But all of Silver Tower City's rides are like, we hope you like this, because you won't know necessarily what you're getting yourself into until you ride it, until you sit down in the seat, maybe catch a glimpse of it on the lift hill.
But yeah, that was our first actual trip out of town in like 3 months. Our last trip was in May to San Antonio. So March. So it was fun to go out again. It was really weird. We flew Spirit for the first time, which
we backpacked
ourselves is an experience. But
Spirit, and
it was cool.
Yep.
We had a good time.
No complaints.
And then there's Sven, who has done quite the bit himself. Tell us, Sven.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I still had my goal of 30 parks this year, which for some people is easy as hell, like you guys. But for me, that's sometimes a bit of a challenge. And the thing was, that was the week of my birthday was originally planned for Orlando. So I wasn't even sure that I was going to be able to leave the country, because they only opened the borders on June 12th, and that's the weekend when I was going to fly. So I was very lucky. However, in Belgium, the parks weren't allowed to open till July 1st. So ironically, you could go to theme parks outside of Belgium, but not inside of Belgium.
It's still kind of funny. I can't believe Universal opened like a month before the parks in Belgium did, even though our cases were like 15,000 a day here in Florida.
It's because the United States is irresponsible.
Wow.
Well,
but that's not news to anyone.
Shout out to Belgium for actually giving a crap.
Yeah, shout out to the European Union for knowing what they're doing.
Let's not make it political.
But so I wasn't able to go to a theme park in Belgium. However, I was able to cross the borders to the Netherlands. And even directly start with a brand new coaster for 2020.
Max and Moritz, right?
Yeah. 2, actually, indeed.
2?
Yeah.
Max and Moritz. So as an Efteling pass holder, you were able to make reservations for ERT on the rides.
That's awesome.
Either before park opening or after. And at that time, you could even make 2 reservations. So what we did, we had one for the morning and one for the evening.
That's awesome. Well, was it ERT only on Max and Moritz or on all the rides?
No, only Max and Moritz.
Okay.
And we arrived quite early, and basically no one was there. I think it was already at 8 a.m. that you could ride. But obviously, Max and Moritz is a powered dueling coaster and more aimed towards families. So
I feel like it sounds a lot more spectacular than it is. Like a powered dueling coaster, and then you end up riding it. And what is the result, Sven?
It's so cute, though.
Well, I was actually surprised, because we started with Max, and the first ride you're like, okay, this is definitely a kiddie coaster, because it slowly goes around. It has some helixes, and the interaction with the other coaster is pretty cool, because you ride in the different direction. And already the landscaping was pretty well done. On one hand, I was sad because it was really a forest when Bob was there.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah. All those mature trees.
Yeah, and I was like, why would you
Sven
remove that?
wipes a tear away.
Sven's crying on Skype, guys. No kidding.
We just watched him wipe his tears away, thinking about
Well,
Bob.
it's also a bit late here, but sometimes I might say some stupid stuff, but please apologize.
Not as stupid as the stuff we say. It's okay.
So, however, they really try to make a kind of alpine atmosphere, and the trees that they planted in a few years that will go up, and it will really be nice. One more thing about the landscaping, though, is that it's right next to Fabula, which is the 4D theater, and that is ugly as hell.
Sven has.
Well, yeah, because the building is just like a warehouse kind of looking, right, from the outside.
Yeah, it's a green.
I didn't know Efteling had a 4D theater.
Well, yeah, it used to be Pandodrome. Remember? It's like
it used to be Pandodrome.
You would like hear Bob roar, and you're like, "Oh, where's Bob?" Because you couldn't even see it. But like it was right there, and now it's a new 4D show. 4D.
Yeah, they finally made a new 4D movie because the old one was getting really outdated.
Did you like it? Did you do it, Fabula?
No, because I don't care about 4D movies.
Truth bomb dropped.
I was like, why would you not invest in something
I mean,
else?
like, the last thing I'm going to do with, like, Efteling is go watch a freaking 4D movie. Like, it's Efteling, y'all. Okay.
However, on rainy days, and if you're there for more than one day, I guess it's something to do.
On the table.
But I'm not a big fan of 4D. But I'll get into that later with another park. But back to Max and Moritz, actually. So the first ride, you're like, okay, you're sitting down. There's also on-ride music, which is playing, very happy, delightful. And then you go back into the station and you hear on Max an explosion. Because on each of the two coasters has a reason why all of a sudden it speeds up. And here there is a teacher that's on the top of the building of the station. And Max and Moritz, the two characters, are known for being two rascals. So basically they put gunpowder in the pipe. And so as he lights up his pipes, everything explodes. And that's when you get a boost with your coaster. And then all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, this is faster than I expected. And especially with the music as well, it turns up to like a very anticipating music. And it was quite a nice surprise.
Very Efteling.
It sounds like an Efteling kind of product where there was a lot of thought behind theming, music, you know, kind of the whole complete package thing. So that's good.
Yeah. Some fans complain about it, but honestly, I think it really fits for Efteling. They did a great job. They have the storytelling. Okay, some of the things might be a bit cheaper towards a coaster like Baron, but then again, it's a family coaster. And also the fans are expecting these.
I think having a really high capacity.
I do think this is what Efteling needed.
Yeah.
Efteling gets a lot of attendance. They need the high capacity. Kids don't have patience. Efteling, honestly, besides Fairytale Forest and like some of the smaller attractions down there, it is, generally speaking, when it comes to like rides, it is a pretty, almost adultish when it comes to their thrill rides. Like they don't really have anything family wise, and Bob was just too low capacity. Yeah. I think this fills the biggest void they've ever had, and I think the lineup is so much better now.
Like they always needed a kiddie coaster.
Yeah, it was just weird that they had Bob as like the most approachable coaster there, and I can imagine kids not want to ride that. So I think this is cool.
But I really, for me, it's more than a kiddie coaster. It's really a family coaster because that second lap makes it worth for me even going the next time and riding it again.
Yeah. Oh wow! Okay. High praise.
And then there's obviously also Moritz. So luckily, normally you could only do one of the rides because with the ERT because of capacity reasons. But as no one was there, we could just switch to the other ride. And it's very similar. It's not exactly the same. And I have a slight preference for Max. And then
can we talk colors real quick? Max is blue.
Max is blue, and Moritz is green. And the story for Moritz is that when you return to the station, you see Max jumping on a fart pillow. And then
whoopee cushion.
Pillow.
Yeah, we call them fart pillows. Scheetkussen. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Say that again, Alex.
A whoopee cushion.
A whoopee cushion. A Whoopi Goldberg cushion.
Whoopee
And, and then
fart pillow.
Yeah.
I can't. Neither
Fart
of
pillow
these.
makes so much sense. It's like a little
does
pillow
make
and
more
sitting in a
sense,
fart.
but
Yeah.
it's so hilarious.
What if it's a whoopee?
A whoopee
I guess
cushion.
a fart.
I don't. Apparently, I don't know. Listen,
Skate kissing.
Sorry for
you
my
can't
whoopee.
expect me to unpack the entire English language. There's a lot.
Had a whoop.
And so the second time when you end on the ride, actually it's Max that jumped on it, and Max is stuck with his head in the ceiling because he jumped too high. And as there was so much wind, that's why the second time you accelerate on that side.
Okay, yeah.
But as I mentioned before, besides one other Belgian guest, no one was wearing masks, because in the Netherlands you only have to keep your 1.5 meter distance, and because of that, they don't really believe in the use of the masks in the Netherlands. And in the beginning, it was a bit strange for us because, as I mentioned, in Belgium we're pretty strict on everything. But especially at that time, the Dutch people really followed the rules. So Efteling has a system where they have put tape everywhere, and then there's white and red that switches up. And so it's pretty easy. You stand on the white, you never stand still on the red. And it's nicely explained to guests and everything. So we really felt quite safe. The only thing that I would have preferred is that they had disinfection stations at the beginning of the ride and at the end, like most parks do, because now they only had on certain squares places where you could disinfect your hands. But they also have limited capacity on some rides, like Baron is most affected. So if you're going, and it's best to start with that one, because there they fill up a row per family actually.
Okay,
so we were 2 people, so we had a whole line
row
for
of 6.
That's crazy. I can't believe they don't get spare with another set of 2 and like keep 2 seats in the middle empty and like use the 2 wings. But you know,
probably too difficult.
They might do it with 2 and 1,
yeah.
but I think I've seen it with 2 and 1, but never with more than that.
Yeah.
And another interesting fact is that they have a youth queue at some rides. So basically, it's people underneath the age of 17. Underneath the age of 18, so until 17. They don't need to keep distance even in the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
So they can fill up trains fully. For example, at Joris en de Draak.
So there's 2 queues, and then one fills an entire train, and then the next train is distance with older people, I guess?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's cool.
Fascinating.
It's interesting. And also about Joris en de Draak, they have a very long extended queue, especially at that time. Basically, it went from it could go from Fata Morgana to Joris en de Draak.
Wow.
And
That's
you
great.
can
That's
look
like the
that
other
up.
side of
That's
the park.
pretty far.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
But mostly, it's only on busy days that it was full, and because of the 1.5 meter, which is a bit less than 6 feet.
Yeah.
But what was cool is that you could go underneath the first drop. So something you can't always. Usually you can't do that, but when you pass underneath, I wasn't lucky that when I passed that trains were coming on, but that would have been cool. But yeah, as a whole, I think Efteling was a very good park to visit during COVID, even without masks. But it's because of the people that really respect it. However, I've heard that more and more people are ignoring the rules. So especially, and they also had very busy days, apparently, I saw online. So on a quiet day, I would say, yeah, it's a pretty good park to go. On a busy day, I would still avoid it, though.
I mean, that's fair.
So that was Efteling, and then on my birthday, we went to Walibi Holland because I wanted to to ride Untamed, to have at least one very spectacular coaster on my birthday.
That's fair. We went to Frontier City on our birthday, so that.
And there, again, no masks required, but they have a special system for the queues. So there was already in the past like a sort of fast pass system where you could buy it and then you had
you said it's on the phone.
Yeah, and then you can make reservations for the major coasters and major rides. So now this system was open for all guests. So as soon as you entered the park, you were able to make a reservation. And honestly, for me, it was very quiet that day because I clicked and I could immediately go and ride most of the times, except for when the Rapid opened a bit later in the day. Then all of a sudden you saw that, okay, everyone wants to start right away with that ride. But,
now, question. Could you hold several queues at once, or did you have like one ride at a time? Okay.
One ride at a time, but you could make reservations for your whole party. And there were still other rides that did not have the system. So we could do Merlin's Magic Castle, so that's the...
Madhouse.
The Madhouse, yeah, thanks. Yeah. The Blast was also open, and that's a top spin ride.
With the crazy water effects?
Yes. Yeah. But we didn't do it. It wasn't that warm that day, so... so there were some rides to do in between. And but we had a pretty good day. I think we waited... maximum that we waited was like 30 minutes. And once you had your reservation, there was usually still a slight waiting time in the queue itself. But that never longer than 15 minutes.
Like a staging.
That's kind of how Haggard worked when, especially the first, I would say 2 months, it was all virtual queue. So like you would have to get a reservation and then you have to wait in line because otherwise the line would be too long and they couldn't keep a distance.
But once you were in line,
but once you're in line, it goes pretty quick because you have distancing and Haggard runs how many trains? Like 9 trains at once. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed Untamed again, of course. I did notice that the morning and the evening is quite a difference from ride experience. Yeah.
RMCs be like that too. Yep, kind of like some of the Intamins.
RMCs are kind of fickle.
Yeah, RMCs give such different experiences. Yeah. Now you went to the Speed Zone, right? The new area.
Yes.
How was that?
So you might know that Walibi Holland is working on festivalization team. So we had Lost Gravity. We had Wilderness, where we now have Untamed. And for the Goliath zone, they made the Speed Zone. Now, I think it's perfect for Walibi Holland. It's not over the top theming, but it's like these slight adjustments, a bit of paint here, a nice new color scheme for the Enterprise. Also in the queue, like you have on the sidewalks, you have like the railings, and then there was a looping made into the railing. So
I thought that was the coolest thing. When I was reading your report, I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like that's like little touches like that are so important to me.
Sophisticated, aesthetic touches.
Yeah.
And Walibi does that very well. I feel like it's the only park I've ever been to, except for China Dinosaur Parks. It has like that sort of consistency. Colorful, very modern, bizarre, but yet so bizarre and unique. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Audacious.
Can't stand people hating that park. I still love that park so much.
It's a really nice style. And also, I think the biggest transformation, though, was for the Goliath square. So it got the logo got the same color basically as the same blue as the track, and then the gray. They really worked with the gray as well. They had like these on the sides of the station. They now made, like they had cars that you had to build yourself. When you were
kind of like diecast.
Yeah, like diecast or Coaster Dynamics for those who know that. Yeah,
yeah. So that's now one of the walls on the entrance side that they use. That was a pretty smart idea. And on top of the photo stand, they have like these speed cameras that are flashing all the time. So that was really cool to see.
That's cute. You know what's so funny about the old station? There, the old station. For those who don't know, it was kind of some sort of Art Deco modern style. It was silver with green and purple like bubbles. Kind of. I don't know. You have to look it up. But there is a inverted knockoff Vekoma coaster. It's not even Vekoma. It's like Golden Horse or some Beijing amusement industry coaster. It's somewhere in China. They had the exact same station. I was like, I can't believe that. I was like, who thought of like copying the station from this theme park in the Netherlands for this Chinese inverted coaster? Doesn't matter, but I just thought it was funny. Like, fun fact, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So yeah, we had a great day, and the thing was, we did this one-day trips, but I really needed like to be out somewhere in a park or resort more than one day.
Totally.
And that fitted perfectly when I looked up Park Asterix, because they opened a brand new hotel, and it's called Le Quai de Lutèce. So basically that translates as the docks of the old Paris. Actually Lutèce is what eventually became Paris, but in the a few years before Christ even. So that's the setting of the hotel. And on the outside, and on the outside it doesn't look that special. I was like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. But then you go into the lobby, there's this wonderful smell. I don't know what it is, but they need to make a perfume or something that I can have it in my house.
Stank? I'm kidding.
Oh my God, shut up.
Sorry, Paris, we love you because you have Disneyland and Park Asterix.
But I think it was because of the wood, though, because it's very wood-centered, very natural material. And fresh then lumber. You come into the square, and that's you might have seen the pictures. Those are
it's like a little village, kind of like, right?
Exactly.
Like a port. Yeah. It looks really cool.
They made it entirely enclosed, so it's all of the sides are in that style, old style, village style. Here and there are some slight references to to Asterix. But you don't see the characters or anything. So it's a really adult theming. And it was very quiet, very soothing, very relaxing. And that's what I really liked about the hotel.
You know what? It kind of surprised me they opened it. Because of all the things that opened this year, especially with limited capacity and lower operations and stuff, I didn't expect anyone to open a new hotel. So I was kind of surprised to hear that they actually opened it. So that's cool because it opened this year, right?
Yes, it was brand new, and they already had 2 other hotels, and one of them was closed, which is more like a nature village style. It made me think of How to Train Your Dragon, the buildings. But we did an evening walk when the park was closed, and that's when we saw that Le Cité Suspendue it is. So it's like the elevated city. Everything was
it's
closed.
like a treehouse sort of thing.
Yeah, we were looking at it together, and I was like, this is impressive. I would stay there. I liked it. I liked that idea.
Yeah, already there it looked quite nice, but then they took a step. They took it a step up again with the new hotel. And the old one is more classic style, and I think they even let guests from the other hotels have breakfast in the new one, because it was quite busy in the morning. But anyway, a good tip also is that if you park at the hotel, you have a separate entrance to enter the park.
That's nice.
I was just looking at that. You get to enter like over by Guldrik.
Yeah, underneath the turnaround, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Holes.
But
is it a
you
tunnel?
don't have to. There is a tunnel, and
road.
then the entrance is right next to Goodric's. But you don't have to show anything that you're a hotel guest. So I'm even wondering if you can go in like that.
Oh yes,
for free.
This hotel,
Svenjamin, you just cracked the code. Okay, so we are totally gonna go and try that. I'm like, oh, it's not the main entrance. Sorry.
No. At the resort on Google
you can't
Earth.
go. It's not that you can go in. You have to scan your ticket, but you don't need to prove that you're a hotel guest to use that entrance.
Got all excited. Okay. Yeah, it was too good to be true.
So the new hotel is right next to Tornado de Zeus.
Yes. So
And,
basically,
like, the helix.
when you arrive, it's the first thing that you see and hear because the wheels of Tornado de Zeus. I don't know what they did or did not do because they are making a lot of noise. But they did some retracking on Tornado de Zeus, which made it less rough on some of the turns. So that's
Did you
good.
like it this time?
Well, I liked the ride, but it felt a little bit more soft than other rides that I've had on it. But then again, one ride that was spectacular because of the rain, I think that will never be topped again.
Yeah. I loved that ride when I rode it in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty relentless, honestly.
Every coaster in that park exceeded my expectations when I went.
For me, Parc Asterix is really a hidden gem.
Completely.
And there was also a ride that I knew for last year, but that I hadn't ridden yet. And that's the 4D, brand new 4D theater, Attention Menier. And that was the best 4D show I've ever seen.
Oh, wow, okay.
The movie quality was great. It was not an overcomplicated story. There were several effects. And even a little surprise in the end. So I was actually surprised about that. Really enjoyed it. And coming from me, that's saying a lot.
That's great.
Totally, especially after your complete hate on Efteling's version of it. You know what I do want to say about that park? I haven't been yet. We've driven by. We were with you, Sven, in 2018. We just seem to be going to that region when the park isn't open. But I do want to say that I'm really impressed with our continuous add-ons. I just seem to be always investing in new attractions and then keeping up with the park's current buildings and attractions. So it looks like a really nice park, and I'm really excited to go. We'll go in May.
Not only do they have a great coaster collection, I think, like just a knockout, classic Vekoma, a great B&M invert, some other oddball like family coasters and stuff. I love their water ride collection.
Disneyland Paris, are you looking?
Fabulous.
Are you watching?
Water ride collection.
Yeah, but even the family coaster like Pegasus Express is one of the best family coasters I've ridden.
That looks
really good.
For those of you familiar with Fire Chaser Express,
it looks like a better version.
This is another coaster.
It's longer.
From that particular product line.
It stretches all the way out there. It looks really
bigger,
cool.
Taller, faster Fire Chaser Express.
And then there's also Trace du Rat, which is their
that's Alex's favorite coaster there, I think.
And
right?
that's my favorite. Yeah,
because that first turn, like the first drop, it's kind of like this weird twirly turn, right?
It
looks real cool.
Very high.
It's just isn't the bobsled? It's a Mack bobsled. It's like the tallest coaster in the park, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a good question.
It's very tall.
Might be higher though.
It's really close. The fact that like the B&M invert and like the rest of the coasters in the park are all.
Let's see. Tornado Zeus is 98 feet tall, and then we have Trace du Rat, which is.
Oh, it doesn't say.
It doesn't say the height. Ooh,
doesn't say it on Roller Coaster Database.
Well, next episode we'll have the answer for you.
Yeah. But I feel like all the coasters there are like 100 feet tall, including the bobsled, and that's really tall for a bobsled. So maybe it's just because you're on a bobsled coaster, it feels like the tallest coaster in the park because, like the B&M invert Osiris, which is one of my favorite B&M inverts, it's not very tall. Height is not really the point of that ride.
And as I said, we were there for 2 days. We had, especially the new hotel is also amazing at night because of the lighting. Very well done. It was so quiet. We had a cocktail at the bar. It was exactly what I needed after so many months of staying at home.
That's awesome.
But there's also a but about this park. And then the 2 days, if the shows would be running, I think you can easily fill them because they have some spectacular shows. Unfortunately, because of COVID, there was only the Dolphin show that was playing because that is an outdoor theater. First time I saw it, it was okay. But the French people and COVID.
Who do you you think you are? Not wearing your mask.
So what you're saying is the worst thing about France is the French?
Well, the people at the park. I mean, I know French people who are amazing, but
well, so do I.
It's kind of the Arkansas story. If you're listening, you're great.
The rules were that you need to wear your mask in the queue and on the rides. Already that was hard. You need to keep your distance. That was also pretty hard. But, okay, that's the guests that are annoying. The park, they really tried. You see that they tried to do good efforts because they have a disinfection station in the beginning of the queue, at the end of the queue. They have special... masks. Well, they have masks with the design of Asterix that you can buy. All the staff were wearing them. And at some rides, they were really enforcing the rules, like keep your distance, put on your mask. I sent my compliments to the staff of L'Oxygenarium, which is one of the water rides, the river raft. Mm-hmm. They were really good. But then at Osiris, at the B&M Invert, the staff member was putting down his mask to shout at the people, and then you saw the germs flying out of his mouth.
We have seen that shit. I can't believe it.
Sounds very American.
And then we were in we waited for front seat, and we were two.
Right.
Obviously, there's 4 seats, and he was going to put us with other people, but on a B&M Invert, you're sitting right next to other with your arms with.
So flashback to Busch Gardens Tampa.
Yeah,
we literally sat our asses in the back row of Kumba, our favorite coaster at the park, and this woman who we know, and we didn't know who she was prior to this event, but then she complained about us online. So thank you for that, honey.
She works for the parks.
She works for Seal Parks Entertainment, which will piss me off even more. Yeah. She asked a staff member who agreed
next to us.
And then she climbed over us in a B&M sit-down, y'all. She had to literally go with her cooch on my crotch to get over me and sit next to me. And I told her that I didn't want that. And she
in my face.
So rude.
Yeah.
If you know who you are and you're listening to this, well, you probably wouldn't listen to our podcast, but not cool.
She doesn't like us, probably.
Okay, do you feel how weird I am?
She wouldn't like us because we're liberal. She probably wouldn't like us because we're gay. She's a huge Trump supporter.
Okay,
anyway.
No politics.
Sorry. But what we sat down in the middle of the 4 seats, and we waved away the people that were going to come sit next to us.
Shoo.
Yeah. Kind of like that. Non, désolé. Pas possible.
Pardon, s'il vous plaît. The fuck out.
That's funny.
But and Parc Asterix can be a very busy park. There was lower capacity, and so on Friday it felt pretty okay. On Saturday it was a bit busier, and then I wasn't always feeling safe. That's why we also left a bit earlier home, because it was the second day, we had everything done. But otherwise than that, great new hotel. The park was looking in good shape.
It's so nice to hear.
It was nice.
I love that place. I can't wait to take you.
I'm excited. Eventually we'll get there. We got our season pass.
Sorry, but Good Rigs was crap. Anyway, what was the next park?
Wait a minute.
So on that note, we're going to go and talk about parks that weren't crap. Hershey Park. Because we rode a brand new B&M Hyper that, I'm just going to go straight to it. Candemonium is better than Mako.
Yep.
Wow.
It is Mako, but it is Mako perfected.
It's like Mako, but if the second half weren't boring.
Yeah.
So take that.
Mako sucks after the mid-course breakdown.
Mako's over when they hit the mid-course. First of all, there's not really a mid-course on Candemonium. But second of all, it kind of takes the terrain to its advantage, and it has a couple of elements.
It's pretty.
That's that twisted thing in the end.
It looks pretty.
The Pennsylvania...
of the pictures I've seen...
area, the countryside, it's gorgeous. It's a lot. I'm sorry, but Mako does not.
Okay, so fun story. We were stacking in the brake run, and there was this little deer, like a little baby deer, running around. It was so cute.
And a beaver.
Wasn't there a beaver? There was a fucking beaver too.
We saw a beaver and a deer. While we were sitting in the brake run on Candemonium.
Only at Hershey Park, guys.
This is not going to happen in Florida.
Only at the chocolate capital of the world, or something like that.
So Candemonium, first few rides, we liked it. We liked it better and better on repeat rides.
I wasn't sold immediately, which I'm usually hard to please, but like if a coaster's good, I usually get it the first time. But then when we started riding it over and over, I really started realizing it's like, is it a back row ride for us?
Yeah, it was a back row ride. And even though it's trimmed in places to kind of, it has a couple of uphill trims.
I started to realize that sometimes I look too much for a certain thing in a hypercoaster. Like, you look at a hypercoaster and the first thing you look for is air. That's just how it is. Like, you look for air time. Does it have enough air time? You know, am I out of my seat? But then I started realizing that we're kind of past that. Like, we can combine things now. Kind of how Walibi Belgium's new Hyper looks like it's a Blitz coaster, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I started really appreciating Candemonium because it does a bunch of things that aren't just airtime hills. Because if you want some crazy airtime, Sky Rush is right next to it. Like, if you want to feel like you are flying out of your seat and gonna die, Sky Rush is right there. It's you know, like, this coaster wasn't meant to be airtime.
It's the antithesis of Sky Rush.
So it has good air
in all the right ways.
But the coolest parts of that ride are like the helixes and the weird, like the weird twists and like the laterals.
The little helix around the Hershey Kiss fountain. Like, the ride's got some great moments. Every bit of that ride feels deliberate and well planned out, and
complements the other attractions so well.
Versus a ride like Mako, where like I'm pretty sure they designed it to go faster through that last third of the ride, because after you hit the mid course and you just drift through it, you're not going as fast as the track.
Also, I never liked the bottom of Mako's drop. Because there's like this little straight part, and like it just doesn't work. The train's going too fast. I feel like my neck is snapping.
The bottom of Mako's drop.
I don't know who the hell designed that, but it feels like I don't know how that happened. But
it's a tiny little straightaway.
And like Mako's a good coaster, don't get me wrong. But I've kind of gone to the point where like I'm just. I like Kraken because it has character, but Candemonium does like all these little things that I haven't seen before, and it's refreshing. You know, Mako felt like another hypercoaster, but Candemonium felt like something different, and I really like that. So. High praise to Candemonium. And just the park in general was pretty cool. They weren't running every ride, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But then one day we got there a little later, and like they weren't running everything.
Yeah, we went there. But then the next day we
rope dropped. And there were a couple rides that were only open for the first couple hours, and we rode those, and then they closed them. So we got on pretty much everything we wanted to get on. And they were racing Lightning Racer second day, not the first day.
Yeah, first day, this one side wasn't even open, and that was terrible. But
so
we went
overall
back.
Had a good time.
Yeah, the first day we went, there was like 7 coasters closed, and then when we went back, the second day, everything that was scheduled to be open was open.
And Sky Rush, of course, guys, I can't get over that. Is by far the best coaster there still. It is so relentless. Like,
I think I like Candemonium better.
Is Sky Rush too much on you? As I started to heard, like
I'm an old man now, you guys. Like Sky Rush is tough on my
I can't
hips.
even compare it to anything.
It's hard on my lower back.
Every time I ride it, I just get scared. I'm like halfway up that lift hill, and I'm like so incredibly fucking scared.
Is there a big difference between sitting on the wing side or in the middle?
Yeah.
So
airtime is pretty consistent no matter where you sit, but the wings, you just there's a lot of lateral movement happening. Some turns aren't banked enough almost, but like especially in the wings, you really kind of get like a wild mouse feeling while you're like mid-air. So the wings are significantly lower to the ground. So like if you're sitting in middle seats, you are above the track. As where in the wing seats, you're next to the track. So when you have those classic intimate moving moments, you're already outside the track, like on the wing, and you're like on track level, so you move a lot more. It's where like in the hardline seats, you're above the track, so like it's really a lot more hardline in the middle.
Less punishing in the hardline seats.
So like
also because you have a floor.
Yeah, you have a floor to put your feet on.
For the transitions and the airtime, whereas when you're on the wing seats, you're bending in the wind, man.
And like it does hurt at some points just because it's so intense, and it has a little bit of an intimate rattle.
Yeah. Oh, it rattles like a bitch.
But if we're gonna talk about like the most memorable coasters on earth, like that is every time I ride it, I can't believe it exists. I can't believe it's still open.
Candemonium exists because Sky Rush bothers way too many people.
I mean, it never has a line. Like ever.
Never has a line. I don't know how long it's going to last, honestly. Like I feel
like it tears itself apart. I mean, superstructure is pretty impressive. Trains are very unique.
Maintenance heavy.
But maintenance heavy for sure, because like at one point we were riding, we heard this incredibly loud bang at the top of the lift, like so loud. I really thought the train had literally ripped itself apart.
We were
shit.
like,
I was
the
scared.
cable snapped or something.
And then I spoke to someone who works at the park who works on the ride. It happens all the time. Where like the ride's so violent and like the lift hill is so fast. It's pretty much like a launch, guys. Like I haven't ridden it. It's like a launch.
Faster than Maverick's lift hill, which is actually literally a launch.
Like you go so fast over that lift hill that this cable has to move so fast. Sometimes it gets like hit something. I can't believe it. Like this thing is crazy.
It just it just jumps the pulley.
There's a reason it hasn't been done again.
Yeah.
But I still like it the best because I don't feel like any other coast in the world quite gets me freaked out.
Right, but it's very
There's
niche.
2 coasters that freak me out in the entire world. It's Arashi and Nagashima Spa-Land because it's out of control.
Yeah.
And Sky Rush.
Oh, shut up. Ijunaika was terrifying.
You thought Ijunaika was way scarier than I did. I know it's all controlled, so I'm not really that scared about it.
It was really scary.
Well,
you
maybe
were scared.
for you.
You were scared.
No.
You were totally
not
scared.
Ijunaika. You were the one freaking out.
I cried.
Yeah, of course you did. You didn't even pay attention to me. So what are you talking about? Arashi and Sky Rush. For me. And the I-35.
Arashi wasn't that scary.
Yes, it was.
It was fine. Like, it was not.
No, I thought it was scarier than Ijunaika.
It was not scarier than Ijunaika.
Okay, well, different opinions, honey. Like, damn.
You're wrong.
Come on. Arashi is uncontrolled.
Anyways, moving on. So Hershey Park was great.
Hershey Park was great. And then we also Indiana Beach.
Indiana Beach was adorable.
It was cool.
I'm so glad we went. It was.
It's not super polished,
Sven has
but
his
it was
cat,
fun.
One of his cats.
Is it Pardue or
What is
Pardane?
this?
That's Pardane. She always likes to hug me when she's in her flattering mood.
Yes. She's feeling...
She's feeling excitable.
Yes. So yeah, we went to Indiana Beach. So excited that they rose from the dead this year. Of all years, to because they announced their permanent closure way before. No, this was like November when they announced that they wouldn't reopen. Right? Like it wasn't.
No, I think it was this year.
It wasn't related to COVID. It was just that Apex Group, the previous owner, just ran it into the ground, and then a new buyer swooped in out of nowhere. Some entrepreneur from Chicago and just saved the place from the jaws of death. And we went, and they just did a killer job with getting that park back online. So much of it looked so recently well maintained. Like all the rides.
It was announced in February when they officially closed it.
Okay.
And in April, Apex bought it, I think.
No, Apex is the one.
Or anyways, Apex announced it was reopening.
Yeah. And, but Apex doesn't own it. It's independent now, which is how it should have been this whole time because it was independent for the first 100 years. But a great park. COVID stuff is, they were doing okay.
It wasn't. No one was wearing a mask. We were like the only people.
But yeah, the park's also in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I feel like the further away you are from
can't deny that people
metros,
weren't distancing.
Yeah.
And weren't wearing masks. So that park was definitely not like, it was okay. They really weren't doing a good job.
But there also wasn't that many people there. Like it wasn't like crowded.
It wasn't crazy, that's for sure.
Roller coasters there were great. My big thing there was the Tigger coaster because it's the last Jetstar one in the Western Hemisphere.
And then I liked Cornball Express the most because it's like the station suspended. Well, both stations for Hoosier Hurricane and for Cornball.
Hoosier Hurricane.
Hoosier Hurricane and Cornball are
Hoosier
suspended.
Is a musician. Hoosier
above.
Is an Indiana person.
Okay, anyways, it doesn't really matter.
Yes,
people know what ride I'm talking about. Like you try pronouncing all
I
those
wouldn't have
names
necessarily
you're not
understood.
doing that right either. So there's all these suspended coasters stations that hang like high above the area. So you have to take these metal stairs all the way up, and then Hoosier Hurricane.
There
so
you
we
go.
say
That
I
was
didn't
great.
like it that much. It was fine. Cornball Express, which is like a more modern. Is it Graphic Group? Is it
GC? It was CCI.
CCI.
All the wooden coasters there are custom.
That one's really
coasters
good. It has like
international.
crazy airtime. It has bus bars for some
Hoosier
reason.
Hurricane was really early. It was like their first like big coaster. I mean, I guess Outlaw was pretty big, but Hoosier Hurricane was only like their third or fourth project. And then Cornball was 2001, and they just smashed it in there, wrapped it around the Jetstar, and it repurposes some of the existing superstructure for Hoosier Hurricane. Like for a ride that barely fits where it is awesome. Great air, great laterals.
And then there's the park's, I guess, most famous coaster, which is the
Lost Coaster of Superstitious
Mountain.
I thought it only existed in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
No, it's real, and it's real wild.
It was really good.
It was really good. There was so much padding in the coaster trains that it was pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
I really liked the coaster. It was probably the highlight for me.
Objectively, I think it's the neatest, like coolest, most quintessential Indiana Beach experience. But the Jetstar for me was the one I was the most excited for.
Yeah. So it was fun. We didn't stay all day because, it wasn't that much to do. It wasn't really that busy. We had a really good time.
We had a great time.
The crew
We
was really
got
excited about
tacos.
us. We got walking tacos.
We got tacos because that's what you do at Indiana Beach, and we played Fascination. That was really fun.
Yep, but just like, Knoebels or has it still, and then
Our friend Brian, showed
Beach.
us around. He's been living in Indiana for most of his life, and that's like his home park. And we just had a great time. Oh, they have Steel Hog too.
Steel Hog was fine.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like it's worse than El Loco.
There's one
whatever.
in France, right? There's a clone of it in France.
Is it
It goes through a tree,
timber
a decorative
drop.
tree.
Yeah,
Timber drop.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
I'll probably visit it in September.
Okay, cool.
You'll have to tell us what you think of that
The
ride.
theming
layout.
looks cool on it.
Yeah, that one's the nicest.
I like the one in
looking
Vegas better though than Steel Hog.
Vegas one is cooler because it's a custom layout and it has no shoulder harness.
Yeah, and
But
it's just
it hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
I wasn't the biggest fan of the one in Vegas.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do remember you saying that. But
I wasn't
we
a big
forgive
fan
you.
of Adventure Dome as a whole.
Look, Adventure Dome is an American institution. It is terrible in the best ways.
They got a really good arrow looper.
The Aero Looper
pretty
is
unique.
better than El Loco, but yeah. But yeah, I
Didn't
remember
work for me.
I rode Mumbo Jumbo at Flamingo Land, and I just didn't remember it that well, I guess. I was like, I don't know why. Like,
It's just pretty short.
Flamingo Land, just of all the rides there, for some reason, the Vacomas were more interesting to me. Mumbo Jumbo was just sort of there, and I really just remembered not liking Flamingo Land and thinking that the fact that they had a Zamperla Volare as their new ride was atrocious, like an absolute joke of a ride to have in a park like that already had like interesting coasters. But anyway,
Yeah, Indiana Beach is cool.
then we rode Steel Hog, and I was like, okay, I can remember now why I don't really remember Mumbo Jumbo, because it's just
Yeah, I kind of forget that we even rode that.
yeah, it's
rode it
not the
once.
most memorable coaster.
If we're thinking about riding it twice, we honestly would just ride it left, so we
Yeah.
left. I mean, it's nice for the park. Like it's a
Yeah.
solid.
It's
part
great
of the lineup, but-
marketability. Like it's a cool ride. That's one for the tourists. It's really unique. Still to this day, it's a really unique ride. But the wooden coasters and the Jetstar are like the reasons to go for us, I think.
And now Sven had really good reasons to go to Bella Verde because they too opened a 2020 coaster, to my amazement. So tell us more, Sven.
Yeah, so finally at the beginning of July, the Belgian parks were allowed to open, and Bella Verde had a good trick up their sleeves because they had a new coaster for this year. So basically, it's a smaller version of Fire Chaser Express and Pegasus Express, so it's the same type. It's Wakala, and it's Canadian themed in that zone. And I didn't have too much of expectations, but I had just ridden Pegasus Express, and it's a good ride. It fits perfectly for the park because Bella Verde is very family orientated. It's basically a combination of a zoo and a theme park, but still more of a theme park. And the ride, it has the weenie, it has the upward spike, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That
that's
looks like the train
other
actually
ones.
goes up
Yeah.
pretty high.
Visually,
Yeah, 'cause, like, Fire
it's
Chaser
stunning.
doesn't.
It almost touches the steel on top, and it's
Yeah.
put on the lake, which is beautiful. It also looks, because Bella Verde is a very green park as well, and it also almost looks like it's been there for already a while. The first drop interacts with Dawson Duel, with the
Yeah.
dueling Alpine coaster. But I had expected a little bit more thrill than it turned out to be.
Now, tell me, between Huracan and Wakala, they look so similar. Maybe I'm wrong, but they look like pretty similar family coasters. Is that true?
It is, yeah. If you look at on paper, it looks similar, but while you're there, I mean, Huracan is partly indoor. It has a dark ride section. It has mostly indoor actually, and it's Zierer, so that makes a difference also
Force
with
One,
with
Gerslauer. So I don't feel like they are the same coasters in the same park. No.
But which one do you like better?
Oh, Wakala for sure. Like
okay.
Wakala is a step up to Huracan. Also, just because it goes backwards, even though it's very short that it goes backwards. But I think families will love this ride. It does have some... In the layout, there are quite some little bumps, and that's why I thought, a little bit of airtime, but no.
Yeah, just kind of going, okay.
Yeah,
maybe it'll get faster. Maybe it'll break in a little. Get some
and Bellewaerde probably also requested that it didn't go faster because they want to keep it low for younger kids to go in. That's why they don't want to overhype their coasters,
Yeah.
But the park was beautiful, and for me, it was also one of the best parks COVID measure-wise, because people were respecting the rules, even the French people. Everyone was having their masks. At the time, you only had to do it in the queue and on the rides again, but since August, you need to wear it in the whole park.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The water rides were good. We also did Houdini, which is also always nice. And it had the pre-show. That's good too.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I also rode the Boomerang.
Yes. The OG.
And it was not as bad as I expected it to be. So it was running pretty okay, especially
we'll take
for
it. A plus.
A coaster of that age. I think it's
I'm looking at Bellewaerde
40 years old.
On Google Earth because
there's this restaurant called Boomerang Snack.
Yeah,
that's what I think of every boomerang. Boomerangs are snacks.
Boomerang snack. Also, this park is big.
The park is a lot bigger than I thought.
It is pretty big, yeah.
Big.
And
it's almost a shoot all the way over here.
I really can't wait to do a Belgium trip.
The giant Canada themed area.
Like Sven better be ready for us to bother the shit out of him because I'm so excited.
That's so
next
cute.
year will be the year.
Yeah, we're planning on doing a fall trip next year.
Because the next two parks that I visited are expected.
Yeah, tell us, how was Sister Park? Well, Walibi Belgium doing?
Actually, before I went to Walibi, I first did Plopsa.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty close to each other. Also, it's in the same province, Bellewaerde and Plopsa, and it was pretty busy, especially in the queues. But the waiting times were still below 30 minutes, so that wasn't too bad. Road Anubis was running pretty well, except that because of the COVID measures, there were less people in it. And that makes it rattle sometimes.
Vibrated more.
Yeah, vibrating.
Some rides are just not great.
Yeah,
COVID era rides.
Yeah, the empty train syndrome. You know what ride has that? Hulk.
Incredible Hulk.
Hulk has an empty train syndrome. First of all, capacity is horrendous. Second of all, the ride's so slow. Like Hulk already ends pretty slow to begin with. But now it just crawls back. I can't believe you're happy it makes it to the break.
Yeah, we've ridden it twice since they reopened. And the second time, I couldn't believe we made it back to the station.
We haven't actually ridden it since because the line we don't like the queue very much. It's super loud. It's like all this bass and like this machinery sound. And
the queue is
staying there during COVID.
It's definitely for the tourists because being in there for longer than 5 minutes just kills me.
Yeah, and there's no AC in there. Anyway, it's not to take away from you, but like empty train syndrome, guys, it's a real thing. Like it exists.
Yeah. And Plopsa also kind of had a novelty, which was the Dino Splash, or is the Dino Splash. It only opened at 11 a.m. though, so it's the newest promoted ride, but it opens later because it's a water ride. And basically,
it looks really cool.
Yeah, they rethemed the old Mack log flume. It had a more castle theme. Now it has a dinosaur theme.
That's fun.
For some reason, kids these days are more crazy about dinosaurs than ever. I don't know why.
It's because of the Jurassic World franchise. That's my theory.
Really? People like dinosaurs again? That's so cool. We like dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, I was hearing kids, let's go to the dinosaurs. And what they did is they made a volcano of the drops. So when you go up the little first lift hill, you see the smoke coming out of the lava, and it's really nicely done. And there's the T-Rex on the first drop. it's a lot more. They also made a new queue that goes over parts of the ride. So visually, it's become a very attractive ride, and then also the drop is pretty cool.
It's great.
I think the funniest part is that it's located next to the dragon-themed roller coaster.
Well, but that's something else, because Plopsa is getting more and more known for having so many themes. Okay, so first you have, especially at the back of the park, first you have Heidi the Ride, a Swiss themed area.
Chalet.
Next to it, you have the Dino Splash all of a sudden. And I do think it curses with each other. But then in front of the volcano, you have then the Castle Square, where it's the Dragon Mac powered coaster. And then you go further, you have the superhero-themed Mega Mindy zone. Next to it, a Kadri, which is
we're following along everyone on Google Maps.
Google Maps again.
And it's like themed areas aren't a thing here. It's like themed rides only.
Yeah, you literally walk 2 steps and you're in another theme. Because then you have the Catch area, which is a character for children on Belgium television. And right next to it, you have the Rocks Flyer, which is, again, from another TV show about a talking car with 3 kind of superheroes, which is the Star Flyer. And then next to it, you have the Princessia Castle, which is a story about 5 princesses. And inside the castle, you have a restaurant and the teacups. And then you go further and you have the Wiki Zone, which is a Viking area. But there it's a bit blocked off with the green. So it's especially that area in the back that just has too much themes. And
aren't there like a bunch of
a bit disappointing
car promotions and stuff going on? So like besides all the mixing themes, there's also like advertising and stuff.
Yeah, but that's Plopsa for you. I mean,
that's still Six Flags.
I have to admit that operationally, there's only one operator at most of every ride.
That's so weird. It's
almost every ride, except for Heidi and Anubis had 2, but all the other rides.
It's a major park for the country. Like people from Netherlands, like it is a family destination because Dutch television in both countries, including other countries that have translated television, all those characters can be found in the Plopsa Park. So I always find it so funny that they kind of have the regional park syndrome, where like they're more of a status, they're more of a destination than they treat themselves as. Does that make sense? Like they'll operate as if they're just like Hellendoorn, but really they're freaking Plopsaland.
I like how they have a Max Super Splash, but Roller Coaster Database does not recognize it as a coaster. But all of the other Max Super Splashes are recognized as roller coasters.
Yeah, but here basically it's only the drop that is coaster track because the ride goes up with a lift.
Yeah,
and so
elevator,
But I mean, it's still no more or less coaster than the other Max Super Splashes.
When I'm riding it, I'll count it as a credit.
It's a product line, you know. Why count some installations of a product line and not others?
True.
Roller Coaster Database, if you're listening, fix it.
That's a whole different discussion. I mean,
oh my god, what if we did a podcast episode that was, is this a coaster or not? And then we discussed that.
With that flume at Gardaland.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Shanghai. Wait for the answer.
Yeah. Things are coming. Yeah. But, but I mean, Plopsa, financially they're working very good because they keep their costs low. They have a lot of profits with cooperations with commercial instances like TV and sponsorships. And so there is a Mercedes right next to the Princessia Castle. Doesn't make any sense. There's also one next to the Viking Village. Again, doesn't make any sense. Those are the choices that are a bit poor. They have other areas where they integrate the sponsorships a bit better.
I'm looking at pictures of the roller skater that's now themed to a roller disco.
K3. Okay.
Yeah,
so
and
fun
it's
fact,
also
guys,
one of their franchise.
Sven, were you a K3 kid? Because I was a K3 kid.
I listened to them, but
now you're older than I am. But like K3 was like a real thing, guys. It's like this little. For those who don't know, in the US, it's a children's girl trio that's been since replaced with 3 new girls that have been casted by by one of the old girls. Anyways, long story short, it's like a children's pop, like women trio, and of course they have
Dutch
a roller coaster theme to it.
K3 and their TV series K3 Roller Disco.
Yeah,
and you go through a washing machine.
No, that was the old
It
theme.
used to be a washing machine, but now it's a stereo.
So it was a washing machine, and now it's an amp.
Sven's like, you can't take this serious. Just don't look at it.
I'm
looking at his face.
That's a really fun,
honestly,
repurposing of an existing piece of scenery.
Yeah, and
because I'm looking at the before and after right here.
I mean, they see Kadri, and that's it for them. And they could do theming differently, and
no, I think it looks cute.
Basically, I gave up.
I
gave up on
Also, so everything is giant. I guess that's because you're riding in the roller skate, so like everything is to that scale. So it's like a giant broom, and the station is themed to like a shelf with paint cans.
How excited you are about
There's
this roller skater.
absolutely no reason why you're smaller. These objects are so large. It used to be about characters that were mice.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
So
it was the show about the pet store, right?
Busy Whoppy.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And so
love that show.
They had a whole area for that. The back of the park was completely themed to that, and now it has been split up into 4 or 5 themes. But anyways, it's a Plopsaway, and then they are building a brand new hotel. It looks pretty good, okay. And what was also is that in the entrance plaza is like the town square, and now it's completely enclosed due to the hotel with the different buildings, and that's really looking good. It had the right atmosphere, and that's it. I can believe that you'll have a resort feeling when you're there, so that's pretty good. But then some other choices in the park are like, why? Yeah. So they have the ambition, but sometimes I don't. Some of their choices doesn't go up.
I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be worse, I guess.
But there was still something else, and there were footers in the lake. There were footers.
Yay!
A lot of trees were gone. There were footers on the side of the park for the extreme spinning coaster.
Project Time Traveler.
Yes.
It looks like because we looked at the layout in a little video, and it looks even more exciting.
Ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like even wilder than
Time Traveler.
Time Traveler
like
here
in
the US. Because first they're like, well, we'll never have that vertical drop. And guess what? It has a damn vertical drop, 90-degree vertical drop.
Yeah, it has a top hat that's like with a 90-degree turn in it, and then like a holding brake before the drop or something, right? Like,
it has like
it
looks bonkers. Google it
really
or YouTube
wild.
it, guys. Like you're gonna be like, wow.
We were looking at
looping,
and we're like, this is a family park,
and a
right?
vertical loop.
Is this for
vertical loop?
No, not anymore.
Doesn't it have a Cobra roll? Am I mistaken on that one?
Yeah, it does have it has like a banana roll.
Banana roll
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and it will be nicely going
integrated
over the super splashes as well, so it will interact with the other rides. It's again probably another theme.
Yeah,
but
I can't wait to see.
Honestly,
it's worth it because it actually looks like a cool ride.
I can't wait to see what TV show it's themed after.
I don't think it will be at the moment. It will not be a TV show. They will. The project is still called Time Traveler, and what I've heard, but I'm not sure if that's correct, is because one of the trains of Silver Dollar City will go there.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, so instead of remodeling it, they're just gonna, because Silver Dollar City probably has 3 trains, but they don't really need it.
They're probably selling a train.
So they're selling a train, and Plop's buying like one new train.
Exactly, and that's why they want to have the same design, and thus they want a theme in the same way. So it would have like a Parisian
time machine.
So the trains on Time Traveler are awesome. Beautiful. They have a LED system built in, where like numbers are always like changing colors and like rotating.
It's got a calendar.
It's like the coolest. It's like the coolest
and the
train
months
ever.
And days.
I love
it. Like it all lights up. And
one day we'll do an article, coolest coaster trains. It'll be in there.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's awesome. Yeah. That's exciting, Sven. I can't believe you found that information.
That's fascinating.
Well, I heard it through the grapevine, but I'm not sure it's 100% legit.
That's a great theory, and we'll find out soon enough.
Wow, Sven, that's crazy. I'm really excited. I'm just excited in general. Yeah, 2021, man. Belgium it is.
Yeah, and it's very exciting to see that a coaster like that is being built. So even though I'm not always agreeing with their choices, they can build a coaster like that for it. So not complaining.
And you know what? And speaking of like 2021 in Belgium being the place for coasters, everyone is listening, you got to follow along, ride on thecoasterkings.com, because we've got the right people in the right places for these projects. So we'll have all the construction updates thanks to Sven and friends and potential future team members. So
yes,
just a little shout out to ourselves.
Yeah, because after my visit to Plopsa, the next park that I went to was Walibi, Belgium. Mm-hmm. And it was end of July. It's a pretty hot day, and because of that, there were quite some people. We wanted to start with Pulsar because that's another tip. Pulsar is very unreliable at the moment, and last year as well. So it was the first of its kind, of course. First power splash. So it's usually with the restraints that they have issues. I don't know why, but we wanted to ride it as first thing. Obviously, it wasn't open yet because of technical issues. So we went to the back of the park for Tikiwaka, because also there the queues can get very long. So that's also a good place to start. It was running okay, but of course that's situated in Exotic World, and what is also coming to Exotic World is the new Mega Coaster. So when we were there, they were putting up the supports for the lift hill, and half of the non-inverting Cobra roll was built.
That thing
and already
so
then
wicked.
it was exciting.
And this was in July, yeah.
This was end of July, okay. And then yesterday I went back to the park, and so now we have the lift hill that's completely built. We have the non-inverting Cobra roll that's completely built. We have the first airtime hill that's built, and they're already starting on the next element to complete, to connect those two parts, which is the outbanked airtime hill.
It looks absolutely out of control. I can't believe it. I think it's so funny because I'm thinking about like, wow, what coasters are currently under construction that I think will be like the world's best? And then there's two in Belgium. And then there's one in Orlando.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Tron's coming.
Yeah.
But like Tron is more about the aesthetic,
right,
honestly, than it's all about the coaster. But if we're talking about like coasters, two of them are located like so close in Belgium. I can't believe it.
And really we've never had anything like this. I mean,
Belgium has always been like family coasters only or get out.
Yeah. I think it's the most exciting.
Last time they built a thrilling coaster, it was Boomerang. The whole country, like the most exciting coaster they ever built.
Your biggest
was in 1983. Yeah, and then Vampire.
Vampire is like, I'm the biggest coaster.
Vampire is like, I'm the big kid now.
Vampire.
You get one thrill ride a decade, one thrill coaster a decade.
Oh my God,
well,
that's so funny.
we also had Fury, of course, last year. And
true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's a smaller, very good coaster. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like
from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So
Fury goes from 0 to 73.
I feel like most of Europe was doing this a couple of years ago, and now Belgium is like until end of it, and they're like putting up the great shit.
And honestly, again, I think we have Plopsa to thank for, because Plopsa made a big competitor made itself as a big competitor into the Belgian market, and that's why CDA decided for Walibi. Okay, we want to be number one again in Belgium. We need to start with a new plan. That's why they gave Pulsar. That's why the new coaster is coming.
I'm not gonna lie, Walibi Belgium looks like it really got an amazing glow up. I mean, it's never been a bad park by any means from the looks of it. But they have just been going to town at park. Like refurb, new ride, new coaster, new coaster. Like they've been going crazy.
There are still some parts that are a bit that need some work, but obviously that's part of the plan. So for some areas we need to be patient. But for the areas that they already did, it's looking great. And the new coaster, it's pretty absurd to see it there. Especially like the support of the non-inverting Cobra roll. It's like a cross, and it's really interesting. And also the color.
Looking.
And the color.
I love the
track.
colors. I was expecting from what we've seen from IAPA and stuff or whatever internal presentation. I was expecting a lot of red, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the green on green, it's so clean. It looks really nice. I like it.
Yeah,
like personally, I do.
When I drove by with my car, it was blending in nicely with the green alongside of the border of the park. So it will be a nice new area. Also, it's really an expansion for the park.
And everyone that wants the most current, as far as I'm concerned, updates, we have them on our website. Go check it out. We got amazing pictures that Sven took. It honestly looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
If you've not familiarized yourself with this project, it's bonkers.
Yeah, this project's. Yeah, you want to have this project on your radar.
If you call yourself an Intamin fan,
I feel like I'm almost forgetting about Fly
yeah.
existing because these coasters in Belgium are becoming a thing.
Yeah,
and then there's still Fly too, which I'm excited for.
Which will open someday.
2025.
Someday.
Remember when we went in 2018 and the track work was...
Yeah, 2018. We're like all at happy dancing on Phantasialand together. And we're like, wow, Fly's almost open.
Fly is like almost finished.
We're like 2.5 years later.
Like...
Well, I've seen footage online, and they still have a lot of work to do. Like, okay, the track is done, but
it's like,
around
you can't
the
rush
theming,
genius. So
true. At least we know it's going to be amazing once it's done. Phantasialand for you.
Yeah.
But and I ended my day by finding a Loup Garou mask.
Nice!
It was one of the last ones.
I saw your post about that. I love how all of the rides have masks.
Which one do I want?
Not all of them. It was
all the the
Dalton
signature
Terror.
rides.
Yeah, Dalton Terror, Loup Garou, Popcorn Revenge. Then there's a General Wallaby one. Then also the mouth of the kangaroo character.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm missing out on one.
Is the one for Cobra?
No.
The one for Vampire?
No.
Oh damn!
Lame.
They know their Vacomas.
It's not for all their.
It's
It's not for all their rides, but
yeah.
honestly,
That's
I
cool,
forgot
though.
I'm glad that Loup Garou is so well loved that it got a mask, but not Vampire.
Yeah.
I bet those masks are better than the Walt Disney World masks.
It also not hard. Yeah.
It also had some issues that day because they had to evacuate the queue at some point. But that was a good sign for us because then we stayed around a bit, and then obviously when it reopened, we could go on almost right away.
That ride is so high on my bucket list.
Loup Garou?
Loup Garou.
Could you have the other two Vacoma?
I have the other two Vacoma Woodies, and now neither of them are in their Vacoma state.
I liked Robin Hood a lot. I mean, it's my childhood Woody along with Bandit. Look at my childhood.
Yeah, right. Rough childhood.
I mean, I love the ride, but this ride was a bit rough.
Literally.
I always forget that I need to put my restraint well down because if you don't do it, the ride will do it for you, and then I was crushed.
Oh yeah, because they're hydraulic, right?
Yeah,
it's such a weird flex.
Yeah,
but
on a wooden coaster, it's like
yeah,
they're pretty comfy though.
And then Thunder Coaster in Tussenfreude has the
has
Timberliners now, so that's probably interesting. That's a fun ride. I got bruised so bad riding that those Vacoma lap bars with no padding, just the bar.
But yeah, and the speed of the construction is pretty nice to see, pretty interesting. But I think once the last element, that new airtime hill will be built, it will be harder to spot the construction because it's more in the lower levels.
It's all below behind walls.
It goes into blitz mode.
That's true.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll find it though. Speaking of construction, Tron's canopy is currently being
working
built.
On it today.
Yesterday.
Started. Yeah.
So Tron, it's finally kind of, there wasn't a whole lot of physical appearing work you could see because we drive around all the time. But now the canopy's going up, it's all happening.
Of visual progress, and then the visual progress stopped.
And it's all inside. But now there's a lot happening outside again. Yeah. So Tron is happening. It's exciting. We went to Magic Kingdom. We had our best day at Magic Kingdom.
We had the best Magic Kingdom day
because we don't like Magic Kingdom.
We really don't.
You probably know it already. It's like one of the worst Disney parks. It's just not it. It's concrete. It's concretey. It's
lowest
too open.
Common denominator.
Even Cupcakes and Coasters agree with
low hanging fruit.
It's just not good.
Hi Jordan, if you're listening.
I doubt it, but hey. But yeah, so Magic Kingdom usually is not our gig, and it's the worst of everything. However,
but when the park is empty,
when there's when everything's a walk on, I'll take it. I have to only wait 10 minutes for space. Yeah,
when
space.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is a half-hour wait.
Oh, I literally walked on to my private tunnel, Big Thunder Mountain. Wow, this is a pretty fun Big Thunder Mountain now.
Yeah, Splash Mountain was a walk-on.
We got Sven merchandise from Splash Mountain.
Yeah,
it was great.
They hadn't had Splash Mountain merch in weeks, and
we show up
a new pin,
and they dropped new pin
and exclusive Funkos.
They were gone that day.
Yeah.
They literally told us. We were there, first people. They literally told us,
when we
before we entered the
ride,
queue, it wasn't even park opening yet.
Yeah.
They're
Just
when you get off, there may not be merch left.
If
and
you
we're like,
ride now, you may get off, and
But
there
then
may
we
not be
cared.
merchandise because that has happened before. So they were like covering their butts.
Yeah. So that was really great.
Yeah, it was.
So
a
that
great
was fun.
experience.
And then we did Epcot, which is weird because a lot of Epcot's closed. There was like not that many ambassadors. However, we were thinking there would be no ambassadors.
Yeah.
And then to our surprise, there was like people in the Mexico Pavilion, still a couple like outside, not inside.
Morocco Pavilion. Was still staffed with ambassadors, and
then
the
China Pavilion. It almost feels like the countries where it's easiest to contract labor from, they weren't there because they just have short contracts. But like, luckily, a lot of the Chinese ambassadors were there. I really like that.
And there were Japanese ambassadors still too.
Yep, that was cool.
Our favorite pavilions, I think, for the most part, were still staffed with ambassadors.
We did American Adventure for the first time.
Oh my god.
I'll never do that again.
Wow.
We were drunk though, so I don't remember much.
We're not the biggest fans of American history.
I just remember being like a really
we got trashed, and then we sat
there eating all we
I knew that was the only way
record.
I could tolerate like a rosy story of colonialism and like a glossy rehashing of how America happened. And the only two parts I liked were the Native American segment and the Frederick Douglass sequence.
Which, for the people who don't know who it is,
he was a famous slave writer who wrote on his experiences and experiences of other slaves.
Uncle Tom's Cabin?
No, that's a. I don't know. No, it's just the narrative of Frederick Douglass.
Gotcha,
I read it in college. But yeah, those were the only two parts. And I'm glad they talked about slavery at all and about the forced immigration of American Indians off of their own land. Because I'm like, well, that's at least somewhat socially conscious, and the show's been running since 1982. So I guess back by 1982 standards, that's pretty socially responsible. But the rest of it, I'm just like, I don't want to listen and sit through the whole American imperialism, colonialism parade. But we did it anyway, just for the heck of it. The animatronics are cool.
Yeah,
it's a really neat.
We had a fun time.
Show on a technical level.
And then we went the day after. Okay, so there was a lightning storm at night. We got some cool pictures. Y'all have heard of the lightning storm about Disney World, right? Like, wow. And then, boom, it hit Rise of Resistance. Mm-hmm. We didn't know that was a big flash, but it hit Rise of Resistance. And so we're like strolling up at Hollywood Studios next morning, like all hype, all ready to rise, all ready to fight and resist and go kill that first order.
And the ride never opened.
And we got Group 6. Like, we are ballers. We're like, we got it early. We have Starbucks in our hands. We got Group 6. We're going to go ride Rise of Resistance at 11 a.m. Yeah. Well, guess what? It never opened.
Never opened.
So never take your boarding group for granted.
Yeah.
You can have boarding group 1 and never ride.
It's the first and only day so far that
it's been down all day.
Operate.
But it can happen. So we went to guest services, and we were like, well, we're pass holders who really honestly can't book DHS like ever because it's just the most. It's just always booked, Like everyone wants to go to Star Wars, and so they couldn't unfortunately switch our reservations around. However, they gave us a good tip, and we're going to share a tip with you. Always refresh your park reservations. It's a live system, so if someone who's a pass holder switches parks, DHS will open up automatically. It won't be closed. Like it'll open up. Even if the calendar says it's not open, the calendar
may say that the park is not open.
It may even be available. Still click on it.
Once the number of slots that are available are taken, the calendar shows that the park is full.
However,
if people cancel,
it'll still show it's full.
It still shows full.
So you still have to try it, and you may get the slot. So we were lucky.
Yeah, we got lucky. We tried on a random day.
Technically, the first slot we could get was going to be like last week of September. We got one for next week. So we're going to go back and try and rise again. We just tried
every day of the week for that park, and we were like, well, I wonder if it would work. And it did. Sure enough, it did.
Yep. So now we have Epcot and Hollywood Studios that week. So take that tip and run with it because...
Watch, this time we won't get a boarding
group. It's not easy as pass holders. Well, at least we still got a DHS reservation. We'll leave after 2 hours.
I really just want to ride Rock and Roller Coaster over and over again. That's all I care about.
I do have to say, guys, for talking as someone from Europe and all people from out of Florida, it's pretty depressing to see the park so empty and not being able to go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but I'll be honest. Empty Universal is a lot better, I'm going to be honest with everyone, than empty Disney because... Disney has like so many things closed. It was just weird. Yeah. Like a lot of restaurants are
Disney
closed.
Disney is not handling this
like
as
lot
well
of
as
restaurants.
Universal is, honestly.
And I found there's like these long lines, like 20-minute lines. So you get a freaking churro, or they get a Dole Whip. There's like one Dole Whip location open, Magic Kingdom, the world's most attended, largest theme park when it comes to attendance. Has like no food open, like
they also
two
didn't
table
have
services.
Enough tables. They made the decision on the fly that you couldn't walk and eat. And then they didn't provide enough places for people to sit.
That was a really big problem at Magic Kingdom. Like, you can't eat and walk, but, like, all the midway is taken up by these extended queues. And then, like, there's nothing opened. And then there's not enough seating anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, we had our Starbucks, and we were lucky to find a table somewhere that was just being wiped off while we were covered in ducks. Like, that was really weird because it wasn't busy, by MK standards.
And Disney's now, like, the demand to go to Disney, despite all of this, is still so high that Disney's not afraid to piss people off.
And I'm also just not very pleased with how they treat pass holders. I get it. We're the pass holder. We pay like an average of nothing a day. I'm not pleased with
how they're treating really anyone.
But it's been a mix. And then they announced their park hours, and then they shortened them. So people book these trips to Disney, and then, some parks have been cut by 2 hours. So, like, now Animal Kingdom, instead of 8 to 6, is 9 to 5. Which is kind of short.
Epcot closes
and then Epcot closed at 7. I mean, who goes to Epcot to be there? I mean, Epcot's a nighttime kind of place.
Epcot is built for dinner reservations.
So whoever feels bad about not being there, okay, yes, crowds are really low, and yes, you can ride everything pretty easily. However, the real Walt Disney World experience is not there right now. It really isn't.
Customer
it's
service
cool for pass holders,
aspect is completely out the window.
If
you're having a bad time, they don't give a shit.
I haven't. Yeah, guest service has been. It's not been Disney, honestly.
Because basically their whole attitude is like.
And I don't feel like cast was nice either. No. Just in general, cast has been pretty rude. There was a couple nice ones.
Basically their attitude right now is like, well, you're lucky to even be here at all. You're lucky that we're open.
Yeah, like we're risking our lives, and I get that point of view.
The cast members, a lot of the not all of them,
but many of them.
Always there's great cast members. A lot of cast members are just happy to be working.
It used to be that like Disney was always the nicest ones, but now it's Universal.
But like on like the guest services level with like reservations and
unfortunateness.
Yeah, it's just like going to the guest service kiosk
in park though, like
in the
people
parks.
I deal with, like like for the phone line stuff, they're all pretty great. But it hasn't been Disney, honestly.
Yeah.
Like crowds are low and the rides are cool, but it just hasn't been. Disney's always been the place we would go because we didn't feel like riding or waiting in line. Like that's why we didn't go to Universal in the summers, because even though our pass, was always valid, it was like one of those things where if you don't go there for rides, Universal really is not a great hangout place. We always go to Disney because staff's awesome. We love to hang out, and I feel like the aspect's gone now. Like if you're not there to just get on rides, then like honestly, it's boring. Like we left DHS at like 3 when once we were told the rides wasn't opening. Yeah. We're like, well, we can stay till 8, but like
when
we're just
Rise
gonna leave,
didn't open, Disney just like we saw a lot of people,
and people were really upset. There were people
really
who went to DHS 3 days to get on Rise and never got on. And today they got a good boarding group or that day, and then they were just told, well, unfortunately, it's not guaranteed.
Sucks to suck.
And I get that. It sucks to suck, and I get that you don't have a guaranteed spot. But there seemed to be no sympathy whatsoever.
Empathizing.
And I was like, God, Disney, like what happened?
Yeah, watching them deal with guest complaints at guest services in this era is
like, kid you not, Disneyland Paris handled our guest service complaints in 2018 better than Disney World does now. Even though Disney World always had the highest standards, in my opinion.
I feel like, I mean, they can't say this, but I think in their heads, with all of the damage control stuff that they normally do, they're just like, look, these people are just lucky to be here. And if they can't,
and I get that point of view, but like looking at it from people who go so often and like being there and being in the atmosphere and doing all this industry stuff and like going around to all the parks and all the Disney parks, it was just shocking to see how different Disney is now. And I don't think I like it better at all. I'd rather have a
reputation that they will earn themselves from all these negative experiences that people at Disney World are having right now, that will cast a long shadow on their future.
Yeah.
It will be, right now, everyone's going to remember Universal for how well they handled this, and people will remember Disney for how poorly they handled this.
It's interesting because I haven't been, but I've heard that the cast members at Disneyland Paris, there were in the past a bit of complaints about not everyone having that kind of same service as in the American
U.S. parks.
Yeah.
But now apparently it seems that they are so happy to be back that they are giving the best experience of themselves. So it sounds like the complete opposite of what you guys have.
It's funny because even in February when we went, I know we don't go as often as you do, Sven, but in February we had the most phenomenal time with cast.
It was one of the best experiences we've ever had at any Disney park.
We rode like Space Mountain repeatedly, and every time I asked for the same row 11. It's a favorite row. You get to see all the scenes, there's leg room, And they were so accommodating every time. Yeah, and like we were excited to ride, and they were excited for us.
Whenever we asked for a specific row on a ride in Disneyland Paris, they seemed excited that we cared.
We rolled up to like the wrong place for like our speedy pass, whatever it is, like our paid fast pass.
Oh yeah, for Phantom Manor.
Phantom Manor, and like the Scatsman was cool. It took us like
we were in the wrong place, and he let us in through like
awesome.
the cast entrance of the ride anyway because we were already there.
Like it was really really cool. So I want to say that shout out to Disney Paris for like really. I mean, we talked about this before, but.
I can't imagine.
Glad to hear they kept it up after COVID.
I mean, like I can't imagine
awesome.
the staff interactions being any better than they already were. But I guess you can still build on perfection.
Makes me even more sad.
Apparently,
God, that's awesome.
But Disneyland Paris is running the game right now, and Disney World is just.
I heard Shanghai is doing really good too.
Oh yeah, I mean the Asian parks are always.
But the Asian parks are always doing
always
good.
on top of it,
in my opinion. Well, that's really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so honestly, to come back to your point, Sven, it's really cool to get everything without waiting. But if you're really going to travel across the ocean, and like you're chatting right now, you can travel across the ocean to go here. This is not the Disney World you want to experience.
This is not Disney World's finest
They're not going to give
hour.
a crap about if you have a bad experience, at least as far as I've seen so far.
Yeah, no.
Cast is frustrated. It's hot out.
Yeah.
People here complain a lot about masks. Even though they're being enforced by the staff to wear them correctly, people are just grumpy. Staff is grumpy. Nothing is open. The magic of Epcot is gone.
Yeah,
it's a constructional
Epcot feels
nightmare.
Very disjointed. I'm amazed that it's even open.
It's not it right now. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going because I'm passable. But I wouldn't. Like I had friends ask me for day tickets to Epcot, and I literally didn't sell them. I was like, you're not going to go to Epcot for one day and pay full price. You're not doing it. Like now is not the time.
It's not. Yeah.
So that's my answer. Like Universal, I would highly advise going.
Although going to Epcot is your best bet for a cast member interaction that's positive because of the ambassadors.
True.
Because like Spice Road
also,
Table,
it's not as busy. Like it's about drinks versus
like
not being able to get on Star Wars stuff.
The service at Spice Road Table was amazing.
Yeah, everyone go there.
Absolutely wonderful. Yep. So when Epcot is right side up again, go to Spice Road Table. Order the hummus fries.
The brie fondue. Yeah.
And do you have Animal Kingdom plans?
We are going.
When are we going?
Eventually.
Sometimes we had a reservation for it, but then DHS opened, so we
canceled
went to DHS because we want to get on Rise again. We're excited for Animal Kingdom because that's one of those parks where it's kind of a perfect blend. Like if you don't get in a whole lot, well, it's fine because there's walking trails.
Also, Primeval World is dead.
Primeval World is dead.
Because of that ride's departure, the net quality of that park's attractions has improved dramatically.
That was like the worst thing there. So we're excited to go. I don't know what day we're going. We have to plan one.
Yeah, we'll go eventually.
Kind of depends on work. For some reason, it wasn't even that available. Like it was easier to get Magic Kingdom and Epcot for us than it was to get AK. But we'll go eventually. We're excited.
Yep.
And then as soon as those travel bans are lifted, we're gonna go fly straight to Paris.
Yeah. We will be at Disneyland Paris the moment. At the drop of a hat, we will drop everything to be back at Disneyland Paris.
Sven's like laughing because he's like, this place is not
like
good.
It's not even that good.
Yeah, it is the first time. I know.
No, I understand. I totally understand. But otherwise, I wouldn't have said that you guys should have buy an annual pass. So
sure. Sven is the one responsible.
So there wasn't originally. It was going to be the Lion King Festival again, like they did last year. They didn't promote it in that way. However, the new Lion King show that they introduced last year is already playing again now.
Okay.
So there's also this little Jungle Book Jive show, which is pretty popular among the fans. That's returning too. Also the entertainment is getting a bit back up at the park because at the moment there wasn't any. Instead, they are using theaters for photo opportunities with the characters. So, for example, instead of the Marvel show, you have in the Cinémagique Theater the photo opportunities. Of course, not right next to the characters, but a little bit removed. But you have I saw Doctor Strange, I saw Black Panther, so it's nice that they have that. And on the other side, you have the Animagique Theater, where they usually play Mickey and the Magician, which is an awesome show. But
did you see it? You saw it, right?
I saw the original Animagique and Cinémagique, which I loved both of those.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But also, Mickey and the Magician was a very nice step up for Animagique. Yeah. And they use the sets and the characters of the show also as a photo opportunity. So that's pretty good.
Smart.
That is cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. That was originally in Disneyland in Anaheim, right?
No, it's
or is that the magic?
especially
that's the magic
designed
map.
for.
The magic map.
Yeah, it has a bit of touches from other Disney shows, but it was especially designed for Disneyland Paris, and it's
that's
good.
the show park. So I wouldn't expect anything less than custom shows.
Park. Well,
whatever you want. It's a sideshow park.
And
I know. I just mean
it's
it's the resort. Like the resort, Disneyland Paris is the show resort. And if you're going to go see shows, like that's your best bet is for live entertainment. Disneyland Paris,
I don't agree.
think is top tier.
Tokyo is better.
Tokyo is very high up there too.
Shanghai has pretty good shows.
Look, I fell asleep during Big Band Beat. Okay, like I liked it, but we had to play a lottery to get in, and we got it, and we were so excited. And I really liked like the first 20 minutes, and then I passed out.
Oh, okay, so I did really like Little Mermaid there.
The Little Mermaid show was neat.
Thing was
okay,
cool.
yeah.
And then the Pirates show in Shanghai is cool.
Yeah.
But remember, Paris at some point didn't have any shows. So that's when there were surveys and complaints. And then luckily a new show director came and he promised that no theater would be empty. It's kind of like that, but because they pulled off a very crappy thing last year. And so you had the Lion King show playing in Disneyland Park. And to have something in the Cinemagic Theater, they did a live stream of that show. And
what?
So
the Walt Disney Studios.
Oh my god, that's so Walt Disney Studios though. It's so ghetto that it's like it's so much funny.
So horrible, but so
I can't believe
that.
I can't believe
that
happened.
But also,
I kind of wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, but also like you're saying that Epcot you can't pay for one day at Epcot today. Same thing for the Walt Disney Studios. You cannot pay a one-day ticket.
I would
for
never
that
tell
park
anyone
at
to
the
do
moment.
that.
It's
not till at least one of the big areas is open. Yeah. Well, I think we should wrap it up soon because it's 3 a.m.
We hit the 2-hour mark. Sven needs to go to bed.
It's 2 hours.
I need to work tomorrow.
My final tip is if you want to go and have a quick trip, if you're in the U.S. anyways, right now is the time to like hit up your Spirit airfare, hit up your Frontier Airlines.
Yeah.
Planes aren't as full as you may think. Carry a little backpack for you. We have hit like $17 flights to go to Cedar Point and stuff. Car rentals have been really affordable because there's a million cars standing around on lots. The parks that are open to our experience haven't been that busy. So if you really feel like making the best out of your last couple of weeks of the summer,
get a cheap backpack.
Go
on Amazon.com or Google, Spirit Airlines, Frontier Airlines backpack, because they'll let you bring a backpack for free, and if you like me and Sean, we can pack 4 days worth of stuff in our backpacks that are a free item.
So do it and hit up some parks. Now it's time. If you have like a chain park, like a Six Flags Pass or a Cedar Fair Pass, and you're really like your home park isn't open, like Carowinds is open for us, but we're gonna go. We went to Kings Island and Cedar Point, and we'll go back next week.
Even like with parks going down to just weekends and stuff coming up here, like. Even if it's the weekend, it's still worth it.
Like, it's about to be off season again. These parks that are open right now are not going to. No, they're going to close soon again for the winter. So
don't miss out on your chance
to
get some coasters in this season, because the sun's setting pretty fast on 2020's coaster season, and it seems like it only just started. I guess because it kind of did. So for some places it didn't start at all.
Yeah, it's starting to get cold again. I heard that it was like real cold in Canada already. So better hurry up.
Yep.
So that's our little tip to end the episode with. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Sven, thank you for sticking with us.
Thanks
like
for
crazy.
Because
like you must be tired. Someone bowling, by the way. He like exerted all of his energy after work to go win some bowling game.
There's a bowling alley right behind Plopsaland, isn't there? I saw it on Google Earth.
Actually, when I worked there as a student, there was also the Plopsa bowling. So then with a part of the team who went there.
Oh my god, that's so hilarious.
So like, if you ever get bored at Plopsaland, you can just go bowling.
You can go bowling, and obviously there's the ocean. Not the ocean, the sea. Yeah, the North Sea. Pardon me.
Which the North Sea is not that great, guys, just so you know. But it is there.
Better than Arkansas.
Okay, well, those are completely different things. Hot Springs is fake. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll be back with some cool episodes. Looking at my little schedule here, we have some awesome episodes coming up, including...
And maybe even with new hosts. From my side, because sometimes with the time difference, it's not always easy to join you guys. But that's why I might be joined by someone from my side to have some European specials.
which is great
awesome.
because we want to be
that.
season 2 is to be much more consistent than season 1. Here's to a great season. Here's to amazing content on the CozyKings.com. We have been so busy the last week or two. Like we have revamped some parts of the site. We are adding new team members. We are adding crazy amounts of new articles. We're kind of switching from just being update based as we were in the past to being custom content driven, opinion pieces. We're traveling the world and we're taking you with us. So stay tuned for much more from Cozy Kings to CozyKings.com.
I'm sure that on all those social media, Alex will make you laugh.
True.
I'll try.
Oh yeah, Alex has the best memes.
Tasteful and distasteful memes.
We got it all.
and everything in between.
From 4 pillows
To Dolly.
Pillows
to Dolly.
Parton. Our fairy godmother of theme parks.
All right, everyone.
All right.
With Dolly in a wave of the hand now. I am gone.
That's a Reflections of China reference.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.